Don't go out, you're a stranger. If you can't follow me and give me your full salary, get out. I'm the daughter of this house and you're a stranger after all. I'll leave you here if you give me your salary every month. If you don't like that, get out. I was completely taken aback by the words of the fake. I've been taking care of my mother-in-law for 10 years, so I have no right to say something like this to her, who is just playing around and doing nothing. I understand. I left home believing in the bond with my mother-in-law. But now is the only time she can do what she wants. My name is Manako. I married my husband Hiromasa 20 years ago and started living with his mother at the same time. My husband's father was a mother, and it was because my parents couldn't leave my mother-in-law alone. Fortunately, my mother-in-law was a very kind person and we lived together in harmony. However, 10 years ago, my mother-in-law collapsed and I've been taking care of her ever since. I quit my job and became a freelancer because I was worried about taking care of her. For me, who lost my parents at an early age, my mother-in-law was like a real parent to me, so it was not the ward that should take care of her. However, 3 years ago, Hiroshi passed away in an accident caused by a delinquent. It was so sudden. My mother-in-law also became dazed from the shock of losing her only son. My mother-in-law was physically disabled, but her mind was still functioning properly. However, since then, she has often been absent-minded. I must not let her get weaker or develop dementia. I liked and respected my mother-in-law, who was always cheerful and positive, so I thought I had to support her. I also felt relieved to be able to share the sadness of losing my husband with my mother-in-law rather than endure it alone. There is no change in the Kiri family, and as a wife, I will continue to live here as before and take care of my mother-in-law. It was a simple story for me. But a big problem came from the other side. It was the sister of my late husband. This mother-in-law, who suddenly divorced and returned home, immediately became a source of worry for me. When my husband was alive, he would say bitterly that she was much older than me and had always been spoiled. Indeed, she was very selfish and had a queenly background, coming to visit me on New Year's and other occasions. She doesn't even help with cooking or housework, let alone caring for her, but she eats and drinks as much as she likes and doesn't clean up after herself. She gets as drunk as she likes and sometimes gets nasty. It's useless to expect a thank you. That's how she behaves on a daily basis. She suddenly comes to look after the kids, knowing that I'm busy caring for my kids, and goes off to play. Just when I thought she'd finally come to pick me up, she takes the food I made without permission. Even though it's her parents' house, isn't it too much to do what she wants? I once gently warned her. But she came running at me, spitballing at me. Your sister is a useless old woman with no children, so all she can do is do all the housework and be useful. I feel sorry for your mother, who wanted a grandchild. That's why I'm bringing her a child. She can't say such terrible things to me, who wanted to have children but couldn't. I can't believe she's the daughter of that kind mother-in-law. I thought it was pointless to say anything to her, so I stopped saying anything after that. I don't see her that often, so I just have to put up with it. While I wished to live peacefully, Yoshima's visits were becoming more and more frequent. Where are you leaving your child here so often and staying up late at night? One time, my mother-in-law asked Meima. I started working part-time. From now on, it will cost money to look after the child, and you'll be happy to see your grandchild, right? That's true, but my mother-in-law didn't seem to mind. I wonder if she'll work part-time until the night before the child is born. I was also suspicious because she wasn't in financial difficulty, but I kept quiet. Then, one day, Yoshima suddenly came to visit as usual. I thought she had come to leave the child here again, but today she was alone. She was pulling a big travel suitcase and wondering what was going on, when suddenly she declared that she had divorced and would be living here from today. My mother-in-law and I were surprised and asked her what she meant. Then, with a tearful look on her face, she began to talk to her mother-in-law. In fact, she had been abused by her husband for a long time, and she couldn't bear it anymore and decided to divorce him. She wanted to bring her child with her, but her husband wouldn't allow it, and she agreed to the divorce on the condition that she leave the house alone. I was left speechless. I had met Yoshima's husband a few times, but he seemed calm and kind, and I didn't see him as such a person. In fact, it was Yoshima who often yelled at her husband and children unreasonably. I had doubts about Yoshima's story, but my mother-in-law seemed to believe what her daughter said and agreed to live with her. Although she said she was sorry for me, she couldn't turn a blind eye to hearing that her daughter had divorced and been kicked out, but she still thought she would end up living with Yoshima. Thank you. That's what I mean, sister, so please take care of her. Yoshima, who was supposed to have been crying, smiled with her dry eyes. It was all an act after all. Thus, I started living under the roof of the house, but she did nothing as before. She doesn't take care of her own mother, and she is surprised at how little she does to cook, do laundry, or clean, but she just gives orders. I wonder if she thinks I'm a servant. Hey, make something more substantial. What's with this bland rice with only vegetables? Harassment. This is low in salt for your mother's health. Sayaka-san, why don't you make what you want to eat yourself? Yes, don't be a nuisance when you're both old and alone. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not. Your brother is already dead. Your sister is a stranger to you long ago. Why have you been living in this house all this time? If I wasn't here, who would take care of your mother? If I didn't have a job, I would have kicked you out a long time ago. It seems like a long time ago that I lived quietly with my mother-in-law. I was getting more and more stressed every day, but I was careful not to admit it in front of my mother-in-law. One day, my mother-in-law said this. Minako, there's somewhere I want to go. It's a bit difficult to use a wheelchair, but can you come with me? Of course. Where is it? Shall we stop by that cafe for the first time in a while? My mother-in-law and I have a favorite cafe in the neighborhood since we got married. When my mother-in-law was healthy, we used to go there together. That's good. I have something important to tell you. About a month later, Yoshima came back from outside and asked me without saying anything. By the way, what are you doing now? I'm working from home. I want to prioritize caring for my mother, so I can't spend as much time as before. So you're getting paid. I'm not working, so it's not a salary, but I get paid for the work I do.
Then you should give me all of that salary.
I didn't understand what Yoshi meant and my eyes widened. So it's weird to let someone else stay in your house for free. You should pay the rent and the high temperature bills. As for the rent, we've been living here together since we got married. We renovated it at that time, and we paid for it, and all the high temperature bills. The hands, the land, and the house are ours. And your brother is no longer here, so you can say whatever you want. What do you mean? I'm just stating the facts. Rather than that, why don't you look for a job if you're not going to take care of your mother? I was so angry that I couldn't help but argue. Yoshima didn't like that, and continued to ramble on. What are you talking about, a complete stranger? Caring for your mother is just a performance anyway. Even if you do that, you won't get any inheritance from your mother. You're a stranger. Don't say ridiculous things. If you're her daughter, don't you want to be more concerned and take care of her? Ah, you're really annoying. You're a stranger, so don't go ahead and say it. If you don't follow me and give me your full salary, get out. Yes. I'm the daughter of this house and you're a stranger after all. I'll leave you here if you give me your salary properly every month. If you don't want that, get out. I left after hearing Yoshima's words. I was the one who cared for my mother-in-law, who had become disabled for the past 10 years, and was always by her side when she was depressed after her son died. I wanted to tell her that I'm a much better daughter than you, even though we're not related by blood. You're the one who makes me do all the housework, and you have the nerve to say such terrible things. My voice trembled involuntarily with anger. But Yoshima laughed at me as if to belittle me. I'm letting someone who isn't family stay in my house, so it's not natural that I should get paid. You're saying that so kindly, so you're only interested in my money. I get it. If you say that much, I'll move out. Oh, I see. So you can't give me a salary. What are you going to do about taking care of my mother? Just promise me that you'll do that properly. Oh, okay. I get it. Stop bothering me. You know the helpers have been using up until now, right? Make sure they come every day. Of course, please pay me. I can't believe it. You have no intention of taking care of them yourself. I can't leave my mother in someone like this. I immediately called the care manager I know. I left a few days later, but Yoshima was out and about and hardly ever at home. I coordinated with Mr. Kiyama and went to see my mother-in-law when she was out. I'm so sorry, Minako. I never thought I'd kick you out. I told her to take it back, but she didn't listen. Don't worry about your mother. More importantly, if you have any problems, please contact me right away. However, the separation came suddenly. During the day, her condition was stable and she was spending her time as usual, but in the evening, she had an attack of longevity disease. I rushed to the hospital immediately after receiving a call from Kima-san, but Yoshima was not there. A few hours after the recall, the doctor did everything he could, but my mother-in-law passed away. I could not say a word of farewell or a word of gratitude. I could not stop crying. A few days after the ceremony and seeing my mother-in-law off, all the relatives gathered at the house where only Yoshima lived. It seems that my mother-in-law wanted all the relatives to be present when she made her will public. The lawyer she hired looked down the street. Before I read the will, I left a recording of my voice at my personal request. Now, please listen. The voice of my mother-in-law when she was alive was played. Everyone is listening intently. Thank you all for gathering here. I would like to thank you for your friendship when she was alive. I will now leave a will regarding the distribution of my inheritance. It is not an amount I have set, but I have asked all my relatives to be present to avoid any trouble. First, I will leave 10 million yen in cash to my daughter Sayaka. Although she did not take care of her parents at all, she has a small child, even though she is divorced. I will only pay the amount equivalent to the medical portion, hoping that she will use it for the compensation and her grandchild. What? What do you mean by medical portion? Isn't it the whole amount? Yoshima shouted loudly, and the relatives began to murmur. Is Saya divorced? She hasn't shown up at family gatherings for years. Does that mean you didn't take care of the child? Hiramasa's wife was the only one who was taking care of him, right? She lived with him and took care of him even after he died. Yoshima's face was red with the gaze of all the relatives, and his fists were trembling. What is this? The mother-in-law's voice continues, unaware of Kimai's anger. Those who have never heard about the divorce of their daughter Sayaka before may be surprised. The cause is her infidelity. The relatives joined in and raised their voices, and the suspicious faces changed. Why did you push my care onto Miko-san and protect your own family? It would be one thing if you were not taking care of your children and were just playing with your affair partner. My husband got evidence and divorced me and took my real rights. I don't really want to leave anything to Sayaka, but she has always been greedy, so she will probably insist on her rights. I don't want to cause trouble for the other heirs, so I will leave only half of the legal inheritance. Please pay the alimony at least properly and use the rest properly for your grandchildren. I was surprised by the contents, but just hearing my mother-in-law's voice made me feel at peace. And thank you so much, Minako-chan, for coming to be my wife, and for all the times you have been with me. I loved your honesty and kindness. You must have been the most painful thing for you when Hiroma died at a young age, but you were very close to me, and you lived with me and took care of me. No matter how many words of gratitude I express, it will not be enough. Tears flowed from my eyes when I heard my mother-in-law's words. I know because I took care of my parents, but caregiving is really difficult. You took care of her without a single complaint or acceptance of any money, and with a smile. Minako-chan will receive 10 million yen, the same amount as my daughter. And she will inherit our house and land. You are free to sell or rent the house. But I hope you will not forget the days we spent together in that house. Mom, I can't take it anymore. I burst into tears and started crying like a child. I am the one who can never thank you enough. You have always treated me like a real mother, even though I lost my parents early. I have also been very grateful to all my relatives. Please watch over my wife, Miko, who will be left alone, so that she can live a bright and strong life. This is my last request. When the lawyer said that was all I could hear was a faint voice from all around. I couldn't stop crying either. In such a situation, the only one who yelled and turned around was Sayaka Yoshimai. Don't be ridiculous. Of course the other side will get a will like this. You are the best lawyer, aren't you? If you have any doubts, you can meet me in court. I will appear as the other side's lawyer, so I hope you will understand that I am a sacred lawyer. That woman was just my brother's wife. In other words, she's a stranger. I'm the only biological daughter. It's not right to get the same amount of money and even a house. You didn't even attend your mother-in-law's death, didn't shed a tear, and only acted desperately at times like this. I can't forgive this hellish quarrel. I stood up, tears in my eyes. Sayaka-san. Your mother may have been physically disabled, but she thought about her family more than anyone else. Isn't this will the result of that? You knew, didn't you? Then you just ran away. This is the first time I've heard the contents of the will. Why does your mother even know about my relationship? She was worried because you started leaving your child with her so often. So after we got divorced, I contacted your ex-husband. EH. And we met together and listened to what he had to say. Because your mother couldn't go out alone. EH, your husband, warned you many times to start over for the sake of your children, but you continued to cheat on him. I was shown the evidence. Even so, the kind husband had no intention of asking for compensation, but my mother went ahead with the request. She said that they would probably come to pick her up, so it would be in time for the 3-year divorce. Wait, just a moment. Everyone there pointed out the truth to Yoshimi, who was finally becoming more and more upright. How dare he cheat all the time, leaving his children and parents behind. Mikiko probably didn't want to leave a single yen behind. It's troublesome at times like this to have rights just because you're a man. It's for your grandchildren. Because he was a kind person. The relatives said this, but they still looked at Yoshimi with a critical eye. Then, she seemed to be dissatisfied with the inheritance I was receiving, but I married my mother. Legally, I'm your child. EH, I'm a legal heir, which means I'm in the same position as you. Yes, Yoshimi's face was pale. Still, she yelled as if she was about to bite back. That's a lie, isn't it? I didn't agree to that. It's not allowed without my permission as her daughter. The Yoshi group doesn't need your permission. Oh, you're right. The lawyer also added. You kicked me out of the house, but now the situation has changed. I'm going to inherit this house, so can you pack up your things and leave quickly? Finally, Yoshimata collapsed on the spot and stopped moving. The relatives who had heard everything applauded. Some were in tears. I'm glad. You've been taking care of Mikiko for so long, and now you've been rewarded. More than a daughter-in-law, you were like a real daughter. If you're in trouble, please let us know. I bowed my head deeply. Thank you. I'm sure that after I inherited the inheritance, my mother-in-law gathered everyone together so that I wouldn't be misunderstood by the relatives or spread false rumors. And Yoshimata, who had lost his trust after everything was exposed, couldn't even be called. After that, she left the house in a bad mood, and apparently paid alimony to her ex-husband from her inheritance, but her life after that seems to be difficult. Even so, my mother-in-law, who has no savings or a job, still has millions left in her hands, which shows how generous she is. I wish she would use the money for her children as her mother-in-law said in her will and start working hard for herself from now on, but people like that don't change easily. The money will soon run out. And now I'm living a leisurely life in my old house, sorting out my belongings. This house is too big for one person to live in, and the property tax is quite high. I had to think about what to do. The lawyer gave me the recording of my mother-in-law reading out her will. She said she had asked me to do so. Thank you so much for everything. I loved your honesty and kindness. Just remembering my mother-in-law's words brings tears to my eyes. I wonder if I was able to properly express my gratitude to my mother-in-law. I didn't think of it as caregiving, and I was always with her as if it were a matter of course. Can I assume that my feelings were conveyed? The contents of the will may be my mother-in-law's answer. I cried. It's still early days, and if I stay at home, sadness will come flooding in. If I keep crying, my husband and mother-in-law in heaven will worry about me. Okay, let's go to that cafe today for the first time in a while. I dared to say out loud. It seems like it will take a little longer for me to let go of this house filled with memories of my husband and mother-in-law.
私、結婚するから、お姉さんたちの寝室を私にちょうだい。
そうよ。言うなら公園でホームレスでもしたらいいわ。あんたは他人なんだから。そう言って、私を笑い物にする夫の家族。なぜか夫も一緒になってにやついている。夫はいつも自分の親の言いなり。私のことなんて1ミリも考えていないんだから。もういい。こんな家族、私の方から見限ってやる。だけど、その前に思い知らさせてやることがたくさんあるのよね。すべてをなくして泣きを見るのはあなたたちよ。地獄に落ちなさい。私の名前はあずさ。桜の季節になるとピンク色のお菓子を買い占めてしまう甘いものが大好きな46歳だ。疲れた時やストレスの溜まった時に甘いものを食べるとなんかほっとするんだよね。今でこそ甘いものを食べるだけで癒される私だが、人生のとある時期、何をやってもストレスが発散できずにいた。それは私が30代の時だ。私は夫の実家のことで悩んでいた。というのも、私は夫の家族と折り合いが悪かったのだ。目に見えて不仲ではないが、激しく考え方が合わないので、衝突しないように頑張って抑えているような感じだった。どうしてそんなに考え方が合わないのかって？夫の妹の美香が仕事が続かない上に男にだらしなく、それを姑が咎めることさえしないどころか、この子はそれでいいのと甘やかすからだ。当時、夫とは結婚して5年ほど経っていたが、その間に彼女はおそらく2年半ほどしか働いていない。結婚の挨拶の時も無職で、いくら家族になるとはいえ、初対面の私にチースと敬語もなしで挨拶してきた時は衝撃的だった。当時は前の仕事を辞めたばかりと聞いていたし、休職活動中なのだろうと思っていたが、その後もアルバイトも長くは続かず、辞める理由も不真面目な勤務態度や遅刻など、首か、そうでなければ周囲から辞職に追い込まれるようなことが多かった。本人はそれを反省する様子もなく、まあ、生活は親に頼ればいいしと、よく言えばニート、悪く言えば寄生虫だ。男癖が悪く、実家に元彼だか、もともと元彼だか、彼女がこれまで交際した男たちが何人も押しかけてきて、彼女をめぐって大喧嘩したこともある。ちなみに、誰が本命なんだ、みたいな取り合いではなく、全員が貸した金返せ、二股しやがって、三股という、どこまでもだらしない理由で彼らはやってきた。修羅場が売りのドラマでもこんな光景はないだろう。せめて親が彼女の行動を咎めてくれればいいものを、姑も、姑も、夫より年が離れて生まれた娘を溺愛して甘やかしてばかり。借金まみれの父に苦労させられた挙句、離婚後に過労で他界した母を知っている私にとって、こんなに甘えた彼女の態度は非常に不愉快だった。いい大人なんだから親に甘えてないで自立しなさい。と思いつつ、嫁とはいえ、所詮よそ者の私が声を大にして言えることではない。今のところ、私たち夫婦へ直接的な影響はないし、夫の実家とはいえ、人の家だ。静観しておこうか、と思っていたのだが。あなたたち夫婦と同居したいんだけど。姑にあっけらかんとそう話されたのは、年末の帰省の時だった。何でも、もともと中古で購入していた家が老朽化し、傾きつつあるらしい。ちょうどいいから私たちと二世帯住宅か同居したいという。ちょうどいいって何が？何と言われようが、この家族と一緒に暮らしたくない私にとって、それはバッドニュース以外の何者でもない。二世帯？絶対に嫌だ。同居？この命に変えても拒否してみせる。それくらいの気持ちは持ちつつも、はっきり言いすぎると角が立つので、やんわりと、夫と二人の時間も大事ですし、とお茶を濁した。しかし夫は、 姑に頭が上がらない節があり、姑から、俺たちも年だし、若いお前たちにそばにいてほしい。と言われ、何も言い返せない。それどころか徐々に、まあ、将来的なことを考えたら同居が現実的なのかな。なんて、両親の意見に流されつつあった。もう、そこははっきり断ってよ。当然だが、夫の両親と同居するということは、もう一つおまけであの娘もついてくる。なんてお得なハッピーセット。ってそんなわけあるか。お試しで暮らしてみるのもいいじゃない？同居が嫌になれば私たちも家を建てるし、今の家が老朽化したこのタイミングがベストだと思うの。なんてのたまう姑。お試しで暮らし始めたら最後、それはお試しではなくなるだろう。一生一緒に暮らす羽目になる。家を建てる気のある人が同居を提案してくることはありえないと思っている。夫も、そうだなぁと承諾しつつあったので、私が口火を切った。お言葉ですが、もし同居や二世帯住宅になるとして、購入資金はどうするんですか？生活費は？そのあたりをはっきり決めないと、私は一緒に暮らすことが不安です。私がそう言うと、姑が不快そうに。年金暮らしだからそんなに払えないわ？などと言い出した。そうですよね。私もそれはわかってます。では、娘さんは？今無職で、お母さんたちが保険や住民税まで全部年金から支払ってますよね。娘さんが働けば少しは状況が変わりませんか？何が言いたいの？要は娘に働かせて生活費を払えってこと？まあ、平たく言えば。ややバチバチとした険悪な空気が流れ始めた私と姑の間に、夫が、まあまあ、と割って入る。この場に義理の妹がいたらどうなっていただろう。幸い、今日も彼女は何人目かの彼氏と外出している。自分の知らないところで私たちが自分のことで喧嘩しているなど考えてもいないだろうな。ギスギスした空気の中で困ったように、俺の退職金や貯金もあるから、と姑が言うと夫も、俺も稼ぎはあるし、などと同調し始めた。私を除く全員が同居か二世帯住宅の未来を決定事項にしている。というか、話の流れを組むとほぼ同居で確定らしい。勝手に盛り上がる義理の両親と夫に私が口を挟む余地はなく、結局その日のうちに同居することが決定してしまった。私には一切迷惑をかけないという夫の言葉をひとまず信じることにしたものの、あの子と姑がいる限り、それは無理なことは分かっている。何事もないように祈りつつ腹をくくるしかない。夫のことは好きだ。しかし、あんな風に親の言いなりになる姿を見てしまうと、大事な親だから理解を示すのも仕方ないと思う気持ちと、頼りないなぁとげんなりする気持ちがないまぜになった。そんな矢先、問題が起きた。ごめん、あずさ。そう言って私に土下座する夫。なんだ浮気でもしたのか？いや、まさか、夫はそういうタイプじゃない。どうしたの急に。と尋ねると、会社が倒産するって、今日通知が来た。はぁ？たった一言で頭の中が真っ白になるという体験をしたのは初めてだった。倒産ですって？お願いだから悪い冗談だと言ってほしい。どういうこと？社長が代替わりしてから業績が悪いのは知ってたんだ。ここ数年の間に入社した社員は給与の未払いやボーナスの削減もあったらしい。夫の会社は決して小さくはない。地元のと頭にはつくものの、中小企業の中ではそこそこだ。それにしたって急すぎるでしょ？予兆はなかったの？社長が会社の金持って逃げたらしくて、廃業を決めたのは奥様と前社長だ。何があったか詳細の説明はなかったけど、多分融資も受けられないほどになってたんじゃないかな。聞けば、 社長夫人もこの件を機に社長との離婚を決めているらしく、金銭面だけでなくお家騒動も影響していそうだった。まあ、もう潰れちゃうものは仕方ないわね。私も働いているし、貯金もあるし、転職活動すれば。いや、私の前向きな言葉に対し、罰が悪そうに目を伏せる夫。嘘がつけない夫のあからさまな暗い表情に嫌な予感がしてストレートに聞いた。もしかしてまだ何か問題があるの？しばらく黙った後、実は、という夫。なんと、夫は会社の後輩の借金の保証人になっていた。それも私に黙って。その後輩は子供が生まれたばかり。会社の給料の未払いが続き、ボーナスも削減され、家のローンも払えず、奨学金の支払いもあり、何も悪いことをしていないのに、借金で火の車らしい。奥様に迷惑をかけまいと、会社の現状は話せず、悪徳な消費者金融から金を借り、夫に保証人を頼んだそうだ。それだけなら涙なしには聞けない話だが、結局夫はその後輩に逃げられ、自分がその借金を背負うことになってしまった。2ヶ月ほど前にはすでにその状態になっていたものの、自分は仕事があるし、給与もきちんと支払われているから大丈夫だと甘く考えていたようだ。思わず私は頭を抱えた。こんなことになるなんて思ってなかった、と落ち込む夫。それはさすがに見通しが甘くないかと突っ込みたくなったが、言葉を出す気力もなかった。お母さんたちと暮らす家はどうするの？今週末にはローンの契約をしようって言ってたじゃない。本当にごめん。頼むから家はお前の名義にしてくれないか。借金がある俺じゃ審査に通るか不安だし。そういう問題じゃなくて、買わないって判断にはならないの？何件も下見に行って、値段や立地的にも目星をつけている家ほど好条件のところはなかったじゃないか。次に似た家を見つけるってなると、母さんたちの住む場所が一時的になくなる可能性があるし。確かに、現状の狭い我が家で、この家族と同居するのは物理的に無理だろう。家族は今の家を引き払う日が決まっている状態だし、夫の言うことは一理あると思う。だけど納得がいかなかった。せめてお母さんたちに失業したことを話しましょうよ。同居の話し事を考え直した方がいい気がするわ。それは、自分が不甲斐ないから親には話したくないって？私の問いかけに夫は黙った。わかった。お母さんたちには私から言うわ。いや、俺が言う。大丈夫だ。きちんと話すから。そう言って私の肩をガシッと掴み説得してくる夫。本当に？と聞き返すと、ああ。と夫は力強く答えた。しかし、後日姑たちに失業のことを話したという夫は、今更同居はなしなんてこっちも困る。ローンを手伝う収入はこちらにもないと逆ギレされたと私に語った。まあ、正直なところそういう回答になるんだろうなとは思っていた。夫が両親に立てつくイメージもなかったし、悪い意味で期待通りの回答が来たことに100年の恋も冷める気持ちだ。状況が状況なんだから夫ももう少し粘ってくれればいいものを。結局、家は私名義で購入し、しばらくは私がローンの返済を。夫が就職して借金を返し終えたら、夫から私の通帳宛てに月々にかかったローン代が振り込まれる。ということになった。おそらくこの調子だと家だけでなく生活費も私が賄うことになるだろう。借金がいくらあるかは知らないが、一つの家庭を何ヶ月も支えるために借りた金だ。夫の失業保険でポンと全額返済できるような金額じゃないはず。いつまでこの状況が続くかどうかさえ、夫の転職次第で決まる。離婚すべきか。だけど、失職した夫を不憫に思う気持ちもゼロではない。こういうことも夫婦の試練というものなんだろう。と思い込むことにした。 なんだかんだでこの時はまだお人よしの夫を嫌いになれない自分もいたからだ。この人と決めた相手なのだから、ちゃんと最後まで添い遂げたい。という女としての気持ちもあった。甘かったなぁと今では思う。結局夫婦で話し合い、私の予想をはるかに超えた700万の借金を夫が返し切るまでは、生活費も私が出すことになった。正直、後輩とやらは本当に700万を生活費や出産費用もろもろに使ったのだろうか、と疑う気持ちはあったが、それが分かったところでもう今更な話だ。多額の借金を抱えたことに変わりはないし、今後どうするかを堅実に考えるしかなかった。時代はちょうど不景気で、30代の夫の転職は難航した。自動車の部品加工をやっていた夫は、例えば営業ができるとか、デスクワークが得意とか、どこの会社でも通用するスキルを持っているわけではない。しかし、似た業種に行こうとすると、若者の需要が高く、中途半端に年齢のいった夫のような存在を求める会社はほとんどなかった。いわゆるブラック企業などならいくらでも転職できそうではあったが、こうして夫は失業保険の受給満了後も無職のまま、家族との同居が始まった。義理の家族には夫が無職になったことは伝えている。そうすることで少しは家族もこの夫婦に頼りきりではいけないと思ってくれるかと淡い期待もしていたのだが、同居から3ヶ月ほどの間は夫の両親から生活費として2万円を渡されていた。娘を含めて一人当たり6000円ちょっとの計算だ。舐めているんだろうか。家事もろくに手伝わず、私におんぶに抱っこ。これに関しては夫に異議を申し立てたものの、夫は、親たちも高齢だからできるだけお前がサポートしてやってくれ、などとのたまうありさまだ。サポートというのは、ある程度自分できちんと動いている人の補助をするという意味なのだが、姑も姑も何もせず、ソファーに寝っ転がっているだけだ。自分で何でもできるはずで、サポートと呼べる類のことは何もない。家事から何から全部投げ出して、寝返りのサポートでもしてやればいいのだろうか。同居するのだから、できるだけ穏便に良好な関係を築きたいと思っていたが、そんな考えは割と早い段階で限界を迎え、私はほとんど毎日イライラするようになった。夫の両親にも平気で、生活費をもう少しもらえませんかと直談判するほどに。しかし私が強気になると、両親も負けじと強気になってきた。私たちの世代は年金が少ないのとか、老後には2000万必要なんだよとか、あれこれ言い訳をしてくる。娘を働かせろと言っても、私たちの身勝手であの子の人生を縛りたくないなどと言うのだ。決して娘を働きに出させるのは親の身勝手ではない。そもそも労働は国民の義務である。もうやってられないと思うようになり、徐々に夫に対しても気持ちが冷めていくのを感じた。同居を始めてからというもの、夫は、あなたは一体誰の味方なのと思うことが多い。私の肩を持ったかと思えば、姑の言葉一つで、まあそういう考え方も大事だよな。なんてやんわり手のひらを返す。最後は私を説得して両親に従ってくれというのだ。同居を決める際に私には一切迷惑をかけないと約束したのは何だったのか。また、義理の妹との生活も私には苦痛でたまらなかった。たまの平日休みに家でのんびりしていると、その彼女が男を連れて帰ってきて、自室でイチャつき始めるのだ。そりゃあ自分の部屋で何をしようが勝手だが、ちょっとは一緒に暮らす者のことも考えてほしい。自分の家だというのにちっとも居心地が良くない。休まらない日々が続いた。そんなある日、聞いて聞いてと夕食時に彼女の明るい声が響いた。そもそも彼女が私たちと一緒に夕食をとることも珍しい。だいたいこの時間はどこぞの男と外で過ごしていることが多いからだ。どうしたのかと思えば、
じゃじゃーん、私結婚するの。
唐突にサイン済みの結婚届をテーブルの上に広げてみせた。両親も一瞬ポカンとして、誰と尋ねる。
今の彼氏。
と彼女は答えるが、彼氏なんて頻繁に変わっているので、どの男のことを言っているのかさっぱりだ。両親も別に紹介を受けたりしているわけではないようで、付き合ってどれくらいなのなどと根掘り葉掘り聞いていた。
3ヶ月くらいかな。ビビッときた。
と笑う彼女。私も夫も目を見合わせ、大丈夫かと心配になった。離婚の結末しか見えない。しかし両親は、娘が選んだ相手なら大丈夫とよくわからない根拠で幸せを確信しているようで、承認のサインも気軽に応じている。
でさ、彼もこの家に住まわせたいんだよね。私の部屋じゃ狭いっていうか。
そうね。娘の言葉になぜか同調する姑。当たり前のように娘夫婦の同居を認める様子が私は不快で仕方なかった。
お兄ちゃんたちの寝室、くれない？
妹の提案に夫は顔を引きつらせた。そのまま私を見て、ダメだよね、と言いたげな表情を浮かべる。いや、ダメに決まってるでしょ。なぜそこで悩むのか私にはさっぱりわからない。即答で断って欲しかった。
ねえ、いいでしょ？
とねだる彼女と、部屋くらいあげなさいよ。という姑ら。私は我慢の限界を超え、さすがにわがままが過ぎるわ。と語気強く申し向けた。すると、
妹の結婚を祝ってくれないの？お姉ちゃん。
これ見よがしに甘えた声で妹ぶってみせる彼女。日頃お姉ちゃんなんて呼ばないくせに。そうね、部屋を変えるのがいいわ。新婚さんに広い部屋を使わせなさい。狭い娘の部屋に息子が一人で寝て、嫁のあんたは台所かどこかで寝ればいいんじゃない？嫁は他人なんだから。姑はさも明暗と言わんばかりの顔で笑う。姑もそれはいいなと大笑いだ。冗談だとしても立ちが悪い。夫もこの空気に飲まれたようで、自分の両親たちに同調して、はははと笑っている。もう最低。
台所って部屋じゃないじゃん。
義理の妹も大爆笑だ。いいでしょ？普段家事してばっかでほとんど台所にいるような人だし。と、姑。
確かに。っていうか、もう部屋がないんだから他人は出ていけばいいんじゃん。
娘の言葉に両親が大きくうなずき、その通りね、と喜んだ。異様なテンションで盛り上がる家族を前に、夫は止めようとはしない。とどのつまり、私に味方はいなかった。
ほら、他人は出ていけ。
私に手でしっしと追い払う仕草をする彼女。姑も、公園でホームレスでもしたらとせせら笑う。どいつもこいつも。いいんですか？ご存知の通り、夫は無職ですよ。私が出て行ったら自分たちがどうなるか分かってるんですか？生活だって苦しくなりますよ。私の問いかけに、息子の貯金があるし、転職も決まれば。ねえ、一時的な問題よ。という姑。ちなみにこの家族は、未だに夫が借金を抱えていることを知らない。夫がどうしても話したくないというので秘密にしていた。理由はどうあれ、借金のことを知られたらドン引きされると思っているようだ。よくそんなこと言えますね。この家だって私が買ったことを忘れましたか？何寝ぼけたこと言ってるの？姑のきょとんとした顔を見て、一瞬、何しらばっくれてやがるんだ、と思ったのだが、どうやら姑は本気で私が何を言っているのかわからないようだ。思わずぎろりと鋭い目で夫の方を見た。すると青ざめた顔の夫は、そーっと私から目をそらすではないか。その仕草で 私はすべてが腑に落ちた。こいつ、自分が家を買ったことにしているな。つまり、この家族は私がこの家を買ったことも、全員の生活費を賄っていることも、なんにも知らないままなのだ。私に養われていることも知らず、のうのうとふんぞり返っている。まるで裸の王様だ。これは、ずいぶん楽しいことになったわね。最後の両親で夫が、貯金なんてないんだ。と告白してくれることを少しだけ期待したが、それもなさそうだ。もういい。全員一度痛い目に遭ってしまえ。いいですよ。公園でホームレスでも何でもしてやります。あなたたちと暮らす方がよほど苦痛ですから。私はそう言い捨てて寝室に引きこもってやった。夫の家族は、出ていく空気を出しながら結局家に引きこもるなんてかっこ悪い女。と私を笑っているようだったが、私がすぐに家を出て行かなかったのには理由があった。それから1週間後、私は満を持して荷物をまとめ、この家族と暮らした家を出た。一人で暮らすアパートも見つけたし、準備は万端だ。すると、家を出て2日後、その家族と夫がアパートを訪ねてきた。どういうことなの？と声を荒げる姑。その手には、私が家に置いてきた離婚届が握られている。どうやら私が離婚届は郵送で、とメモに住所を残していたので居場所を探り当てたようだった。どういうことって何がですか？私は笑顔で聞き返す。さっきリサイクル業者が来て冷蔵庫もテレビも全部持っていくって話なんだけど、あんたの仕業でしょ。そりゃそうでしょう。私は離婚届を置いてあの家を出たんですよ。なぜ自分の戻らない家に荷物を残していくんですか？知らないんですか？あの冷蔵庫もテレビも洗濯機もお母さんたちがゴロゴロしてたソファーも全部私のお金で買ったものですよ。自分のお金って偉そうに。結婚している間の財産は夫との共有物よ。つまりあれは息子のものでもあるの。何を勝手に売り払っているのよ。ドヤ顔でふんぞり返る姑の後ろで小さくなって青ざめている夫。まだ何も話していないのか。なんでこんな人のことをこの間まで好きでいられたんだろう。気持ちが冷めるとすっごくちっぽけな男に見えてくる。お言葉ですが、あの家財は正真正銘私のお金で買ったものです。結婚前の貯金からお金を捻出して購入してますから。ついでにお伝えすると、売りに出しているのは家財だけじゃありませんよ。あの家も今売ろうとして話を進めているところです。大きな声で驚き、呆然とした顔で舅と顔を見合わせる姑。後ろで娘も、マジで？と固まっていた。家は息子の名義でしょ？ローンだって支払っているはず。私の貯金で買ったんですよ、一括で。夫には家はローン、家財は貯金で買ったってことにしてましたけどね。私の言葉に夫は、なんでそんな嘘を？と問いかけてきた。失業した夫と義理の家族を養わなきゃいけないのよ。毎月のローンを払うくらいなら貯金を崩して一括で買っちゃった方が生活は楽だと思ったの。それに、こんな風にお母さんたちから私が虐げられるようになった場合もいろいろ対策が取れるしね。先手を打ってよかったわ。私は彼らに、まさか私が対策ゼロであなたたちと同居したとでも思ってたんですか？と言った後、大人の1ヶ月の生活費が3人で2万円だと思ってる人たちには無理か。と笑ってやった。知人に不動産の仲介をしている人がいますし、別の知人で大家をやりたいという人もいたので、2人に連絡を取って今話を進めているところです。業者を入れていないから気づかなかったでしょう。ふふっと笑う私と、かなりまずい状況であることがだんだん分かってきたようで、目に見えて青ざめていく夫の家族。舅は夫の胸ぐらをつかみ、なんで言わなかったと怒鳴った。夫は半分涙目になり、 ごめん。とつぶやくだけだ。相変わらず姑に弱い。離婚届を書いて正解だな。
私結婚するのにどうしたらいいわけ？
義理の妹の素朴な疑問に姑は言葉を失っている。それどころじゃない、という様子だ。そりゃそうだ。家も家財もなくして、手元には無職の子供が2人。私というかじり尽くせるすねもなくなった今、いよいよ少ない年金と2000万もない老後資金で頑張るしかない。現実を見て呆然とするのも当然だった。姑は娘の顔を見て、あんたの旦那になる人の稼ぎっていい方なのかしら？真剣な眼差しで問いかけた。すると彼女の答えは、
スロットで稼いでるって言ってた。プロのスロッターだよ。
思わず爆笑する私と、終わったといううつろな表情の夫と両親。いやいや、プロのスロッターって何よ。人類にそういう人が一握りいるのは知っているけれど、安定していない上に自称が多い世界だ。しかも彼女が見つけた男とくれば、ろくな奴じゃないことだけは確かだろう。姑は私の方に向き直り。ねえ、先日のことは謝るから仲良くしない？ちょっとした誤解もあると思うの、お互いに。と言って和解を促してきた。いやいや、誤解なんてありませんよ。最初から私たちの考え方はさっぱり合わなかったじゃないですか。何言ってるんですか？大笑いする私に姑は、そんなこと言わないで。絶対に誤解があったはずよ。と食らいついてきたが、私はないと否定した。家族なのに見放す気か。と姑が厳しい目で私を睨む。しかし私が、先に他人呼ばわりしたのはあなたの奥様ですけどと言うと姑は黙った。待って、冷たすぎるわ。一緒に暮らした仲じゃない。と叫ぶ姑。一緒に暮らして養ってやった仲ですけど、だからこそもう一緒にいたくないんですよ。私の言葉に考え直してくれという夫。あなたがもう少し私に助け舟を出してくれていたら考え直したかもね。でももう無理よ。嫌になっちゃった。無茶言わないでちょうだいよ。と私は夫の言葉を笑い飛ばした。すると、そんなこと言わないで。家族に試練はつきものよ。と必死な形相の姑。義理の妹もそうだと姑に同調し、なんとか私のサポートを、いや、すねをかじろうとしていた。試練ね。試練だなんて言うなら、公園でホームレスでもすればどうですか？他人の私に構わず、家族で仲良くこの試練を乗り越えてみては？自分たちが言ったことの意趣返しを受けて、姑と義理の妹は顔を真っ赤にし、可愛げのないやつと私を罵った。いいんですか？そんなこと言って。私がいないと生活できないのでは？私の言葉に唇を噛み締めて黙る二人。いいぞと少し気分が良くなったのは秘密だ。
せっかく結婚が決まったのに。
と妹はうなだれ、姑も。こんなことになるなんてかわいそうに。と娘を抱きしめる。娘を働かせてきちんと自立させておけばこんなことにはなってないんですけどね。どこまでも甘く見通しが悪い。思えば後輩の借金の保証人になったり、倒産寸前の会社にしがみついていた夫も、こういう部分は彼女たちによく似ていた。なるほど。甘ちゃんなのは母方の血筋だったのね。と妙に納得する。まあ、でもその心配はいらないんじゃないですか？と私が言うと、家族と夫は目が点になった。きょとんとするみんなに私はこう言った。だって娘さんの旦那、多分他にも彼女いますよ。
え？
驚いて目を向く一家。それを見て私は再び笑いそうになった。
多分って何？
と義理の妹が尋ねた。彼氏がコロコロ変わるからあなたの旦那が誰かわからないけど、でも一番最近顔を見た彼なら 今このアパートの下の階に住んでる女と付き合ってるみたいよ。
はぁ？
文字通りの東大元暮らしである。私が引っ越してきたその日に偶然見かけて知ったのだが、義理の妹が直近まであの家に連れ込んでいた男。つまり結婚相手らしき男がこのアパートの下の階の住人のけばい女と年頃のようで頻繁に出入りしているのだ。夜やってきて朝に出ていくあたり、男女の関係以外の何者でもないだろう。100歩譲って兄弟とかってこともあり得るかもしれないけど、彼から何か聞いてる？私の問いに黙る義理の妹。その反応を見るに、やはり直近まであの家に出入りしていた男が結婚相手に違いない。
私が騙されるとかありえないんだけど。
とつぶやき、その場に膝をついた。裏切られたというより、自分が2番目の女であることが悔しいようだ。鬼のような形相で携帯を取り出し、相手の男に連絡を取っていたが、今の状況を話した途端、電話を切られていた。
ありえないんだけど。
と、ぶち切れる義理の妹。姑が必死に止めようとするが、怒り狂った彼女を止められる者は誰もいない。あっちもこっちも大惨事の家族を、私は心底楽しい気持ちで眺めていた。ということで、私はもう決めましたから。ちゃんと離婚届にサインしてね。あなた。夫は何も言わなかった。あと、あなたに大した財産がないのは分かってるけど、それでもまだ最悪の時のために残してた貯金が多少あったよね。あれ財産分与でもらうから。そこまでやるのかと思わず声を荒げる夫に。当たり前でしょと微笑む私。夫には私が悪魔に見えたのかもしれないが、このくらい当然だ。望んでいないのにあなたの両親を養ってあげたんだから、きちんとお金は回収させてもらうわよ。こうして私は、呆然としっぱなしの家族と夫を無理やり追い返し、新しい生活のスタートを切った。その後、義理の妹は私のアパートに、というか、夫になるはずだった男が通い詰めていた女のもとに頻繁に現れ、キャットファイトを繰り返して警察に通報された。結局彼女は、その男の遊び相手で、私のアパートに住んでいる女が本当の婚約者だったらしい。かの結婚話は冗談で言ったものを彼女が真に受け、一人で婚姻届を取ってきて舞い上がっていただけのようだった。彼女は珍しく本気だったようだが、まあ、ご愁傷様という感じである。それだけではない。家も家財も失った家族は夫の貯金を当てにしていたが、それも私に財産分与を要求されたせいで川残用に。こうして夫一家の家族仲は急激に悪化した。夫が嫁をつなぎ止めておかないからこんなことになった。と、はじめは夫が責められていたが、その状況に耐えかねた夫がついにブチギレ、姑と大喧嘩。妹を甘やかすからこうなった。妻が怒ったのはお前らのせいだ。と、自分の行動は棚に上げて両親を咎めたらしい。私にも心を入れ替えて両親とは距離を置くから再婚しないか、と復縁を迫った。再婚なんてありえないんですけど、本当に甘ちゃんなんだから。夫にブチギレられた姑は、言いなりだった息子が手を噛んだのが許せないらしく、大層憤慨したらしい。揉めに揉めた結果、ようやく娘が働かないことが一番悪いと気づいたようで、家族全員を巻き込む大騒動に発展した。結果、家族はバラバラになった。夫の両親は別居か離婚を選択したいのに金がないので一緒に暮らし続け、会話もないという。夫も寮のある会社に再就職が決まったものの、とんでもないブラック企業を引き当てたため、数ヶ月で体を壊し退職。義理の妹もまた、過去に交際していた既婚者の妻から突然訴えられてしまい、働かざるを得ない状況になった。普通の仕事は給与も安く、夜の店で働くようになったが、やがてこちらも酒で体を壊したという。こうなると、夫も妹も両親と肩を寄せ合う以外道がない。 家族全員仲が悪いのになぜか一緒に暮らすというとんでもない仮面一家になってしまった。人に頼っていればなんとかなると思っているから、いつかツケが回ってくるのよね。どーんまい。一方私は離婚を機に仕事に打ち込むようになった。もともと家庭を優先したいからと残業などを控えていたこともあり、役職に就くのも断っていたのだが、バリバリ働くようになってからは役職もつけてもらい、トントン拍子でアパレルメーカーのエリアマネージャーに昇進。決して楽な仕事ではないし、多少ブラックなところもまあゼロではないが、人間関係もよくやりがいもある。給与も悪くないし、何より楽しい職場だ。今やフリーだし、恋のときめきを感じたいような気もするが、しばらくは仕事が恋人でいいかな、と思っている。え？本当に何もないのかって？いやー、実はあの時家を売った不動産仲介の知人から最近食事に誘われてるんだよね。離婚の後も何かといろんなストレスを抱えていた私の相談にも乗ってくれていて、古くからの知人だし、本当にいい人だ。でも、決してそういう目で見たことはなかったのだが、ちょっとずつ私も彼が気になりだして、彼も突然誕生日を祝ってくれたりするようになった。酔った時にも、君が奥さんだと楽しいだろうな、なんて言われたり。もうそれは好意を持たれてるじゃんって？いやいや、考えすぎかもよ。だいたい私ももういい年だしね。そんな言葉で浮かれたりなんてしないんだから。でも、もしも両思いなら、このまま足を踏み出してみるのもいいかもしれない。だけど、あとちょっとだけ、この甘い雰囲気を楽しみたい。今はそんな風に思っている。
Elderly people who live on pensions are nothing but a nuisance. My mother who lives on a small pension is nothing but a nuisance. Don't rely on us if you're in trouble. Isn't it okay to cut off all ties? Don't let anyone get involved with this except President Khan. I was shut out by my son and his wife and was taken for a meanie. Did they think I would cry and beg for them? It's a shock, but I'm not the kind of person who gets depressed easily. That's fine. Don't be so happy to cut off all ties and underestimate the elderly. My name is Akiho. I'm 70 years old. But we live in an era where we can live to 100 years. I still feel young and healthy. My husband passed away last year at the age of 72, and I'm quite lonely, but I can't be depressed forever. When I go to the afterlife and meet my husband again, I have to prepare some funny stories to make him laugh. To do that, I aim to use fun old language and live a fun single life every day. Well, even so, I don't have that much savings. My husband worked little by little, writing articles for magazines and other things. Being a freelancer sounds cool, but we're not company employees, so we only get the national pension. I've always been part-time, so our combined pensions didn't amount to much, but my husband continued to work, so we were able to live a fairly enjoyable life. But my current income is only 65,000 yen a month in pension, which is quite scary. I can't afford to go on a luxurious overseas trip. I try to find hobbies that I can enjoy and try them out every day. One of the things I look forward to in my retirement is spending time with my grandchildren. I have one son and one daughter, but they both got married and left home. My eldest son and his wife just got married last year. My husband and I were happy that we had finally met someone in our mid-40s. However, it's an elderly marriage. His wife is also in her 40s and apparently chose not to have children from the beginning. It's what my son and his wife decided. As long as the two of them get along well, that's fine. My daughter got married in her mid-20s and has 2 children. My very cute grandchildren are now in junior high and high school. It's been a long time since my 2 grandchildren came to visit us in the middle of spring. Even if it wasn't, it's a 2-hour train ride away. It's inevitable that we don't get to see each other often. It's peaceful and a little lonely. That's my current situation. Well, one day, while I was living such a lonely old life, I had a sudden visitor. Oh, my, isn't it Naoya? It's been a long time. Naoya is my son. I was taken aback by my eldest son's sudden visit. I wish he would have contacted me in advance. What's up with work? Today is Wednesday and my son is an ordinary office worker. Standing next to my son is his wife, Rena. Rena is also taking a part-time day off. Right, we don't have work. Really? There's no work. I feel something strange about those words. I invited my son and his wife into my house while tilting my head in a strange way. As I was preparing tea, my son came into the kitchen and opened it without saying a word. Hey, don't open someone else's refrigerator without permission. It's fine. It's my parents' house. That's not the problem. There's no beer in it. Ignoring my voice, he poured out the beer and then the filling. You drive, don't you? I gave him a stern look and told him not to drink and drive, but he shrugged. It's fine. I'm not driving today. What's going on? Did Rena get her license? I was tilting my head when Rena came into the kitchen. She opened the cupboard and took out 2 glasses without permission. Wait a minute. What's up with these 2? It's been a while since we've been here, so aren't they being pretty brazen? Rena, that glass. I'll use it. Can I use that? I think. However, Rena didn't understand my intentions, so she hurriedly put it in and went to the living room. My son followed after him with the pickled plum. I hurried to the living room, but the climax had already begun. Cheers. What's this? Isn't it delicious? The plums that my mother picked are the best. Bring me some sake. No, bring me some snacks. What's that? Where is this old man from? I'm a girl in my prime. Okay, everyone? This is a conversation between a middle-aged couple in their 40s. It's not the kind of conversation you'd expect from an old man drinking at a bar in Busu, nor are we young people ready to leave. We're in our 40s and have more than 20 years of life experience since we've become adults. Oh, Mom, can you make some snacks for us? Or rather, since we've come all this way, why don't we get some sushi? Oh, the eldest son and his wife suddenly showed up, started drinking, and ordered this and that from me. To top it off, they ordered takeout and paid for it from my wallet. What's this? What's this? What on earth is going on? Hey, you guys can relax, but we're all set. How are you going to go home after drinking? It's already the time when the last train has left, and my eldest son and his wife are not going to go home. When I finally lost my patience and asked my son, he said nonchalantly, "Oh, I'm not going home, so it's okay." If you're not going home, does that mean you're not going to work tomorrow? My son said without taking his eyes off the TV in response to my question. I don't have work today or tomorrow. I quit. I got rid of my car. I quit my job suddenly. I was taken aback by his declaration. What do you mean? My abilities would be wasted at a company like that. I'm a man who can achieve much bigger things. Ha. But unfortunately, I can't find a company that will utilize my abilities right now. But living expenses will be expensive, whether I like it or not. That's why we decided to live here from today. This solves everything. What? I couldn't help but shout. What do you mean? You're solving the problem, but nothing is solved, I said, and I looked at Rena. I don't know if she was engrossed in the TV and listening to my conversation with my son. Hey, Rena, do you know that you quit your job? Yes, I know. By the way, I quit too. Yes, I shouted again, forgetting that it was the middle of the night. Wait a minute. You two quit your jobs. What are you going to do with your life from now on? For now, you have savings. You canceled the apartment contract and moved out. It's not something that can be canceled so quickly. I think you need to notify them in advance, like a month in advance. But the fact that you canceled the contract and moved out means that it's not a matter of yesterday. In other words, you've been working on quitting your job and canceling the apartment contract for that long. But you didn't consult me or tell me a word and suddenly came to live with me. Wait a minute. Even if you suddenly came and asked to live with me, what do you mean? Mom, you're not going to kick us out? Are you going to get lost on the road? No, that's not what I'm saying, but I don't think you'd want to stay there forever. You're going to get a job, right? Your son is still in his 40s. And he's married. Even though we don't have children, you don't think you're going to be unemployed forever, do you? I don't know that. I told you. I can't find a company that can utilize my abilities. Of course there's no plan for a final job. I was thinking. My son was thinking about being unemployed forever. It seems that there is no plan for a final job. A bad feeling rises up. That's why I came here to pay for living expenses, and you're getting a pension, right? It's nice, isn't it? Unearned income. Please support us with that money. Ha! I screamed for the third time when my son said something outrageous. My son laughed and turned on the TV again. Rena just said, "Mother, I look forward to working with you," and drank alcohol. Living with my son and his wife who suddenly came. It was too sudden, but I couldn't kick out my sons who had no place to live. Moreover, a large amount of packages arrived the next day. It seemed that they had specified the date and sent their personal belongings. I was at the entrance, wondering what to do with the mountain of cardboard boxes piled up high. I turned around to ask my son to carry it to what used to be his room, and my son and Rena were standing there, wearing the clothes they had taken out of the cardboard boxes. Well, leave the rest to us. What a thing. My son and his wife left, leaving a huge amount of cardboard boxes behind. It was clear that they were not job hunting. What are we going to do with this? In the end, my son and his wife did not come home until night, and the cardboard boxes were left at the entrance. My son and his wife came home late at night, just before the date changed. I'm home. The two of them came home loudly, without caring about the time. They seemed to be drunk. However, just after they entered the entrance, they yelled, "What is this?" and came into the living room with loud footsteps. Hey, what's that, Mom? Welcome back. Can't you be a little quieter? More importantly, why haven't you put your things away? It's yours. When I said that, my son and Lena narrowed their eyes and sighed together. What, did I say something strange? Mom, if you think about it for a moment, you'll understand. What? That huge amount of luggage is just in the way. Clean it up while we're not here. That's why old people are useless. Damn. Yes, I wonder if my son was so rude. I was surprised, and Lena gave me a silly laugh. Mom is a useless, inconsiderate, useless person. Useless people can't be helped. I'll count on you tomorrow. My son nodded at Lena's words. That's right, that's right. Mom, please do it properly tomorrow, and the two of them returned to their room, leaving the huge amount of luggage as it was. I looked back and forth between the hallway where they had left and the huge amount of cardboard boxes, and shouted, I'll clean it up. The next day, my son and his wife were at home, but they were so bedridden that they didn't seem to be of any use. Both of them were hungover. Don't mess with me. You guys hurry up and do something about that mountain of cardboard. It's narrow and hard to get through. Mom, don't shout because it will echo in my hungover head. You can see it. We can't move properly. I'm sorry, but you can clean it up, Mom. There's no way I can do it at 70 years old. It's our luggage, so you in your 40s should speak up. Being 30 is nothing. Mom can do it. Wow, Mom stays young forever. Oh, no, that happens. So, I'll take that. I almost jumped on my son's clumsy lifting. But even after that, my son and Rena couldn't move, and I ended up carrying the cardboard to my room because I was getting in the way. Of course, it was Rena who called me shitty the next day when I had a sore back and was left with my tail on my back. Don't mess with me. We started living together by force. If that's the case, then maybe they'll help me with the heavy lifting and housework, and it'll be easier. But I was stupid to think so. Anyway, my son and his wife do nothing. They don't clean, they don't cook, they don't even try to help. Mom, I'm hungry. Food. Mom, I'm sweating and it's disgusting, so please prepare a bath. Mom, shoes. Mom, the trash can is full. Mom. It's annoying. I couldn't help but scream like a wrestler. Tokyo has become this bad. At this rate, I'm just a servant. My patience with my son and his wife who don't do anything has reached its limit. It's only a matter of time before I reach my limit and my heart erupts. Or so I thought, but something happens before the eruption. Oh, it won't open. Standing in front of the front door, I tilt my head in disbelief. My son and his wife have moved in without permission, and we have started living together by force. However, my stress is only increasing because of the lazy couple who do nothing. So today I went to a tea party where housewives of the same age gathered to change my mood. When I came back, I couldn't get into the house for some reason. I wonder if the key is broken. I looked at the key in my hand, but it wasn't bent or locked. So the problem was with the door, and the moment I looked into the keyhole, it slammed open. The door suddenly opened and I hit my forehead with a bang. The unexpected pain made my eyes tingle. I instinctively held my forehead and slumped, but then I heard a voice from my head. What's this, Mom? How many people are trying to play with the front door? Is it your son? The key didn't open. But I'm glad. You opened it for me, so I have to fix the key quickly. As I was holding my forehead and trying to enter the house, for some reason my son was right in front of me. I moved to the left. My son moves in front of me with a strange high-pitched sound. I move a little to the right. Brr. Then my son moves in front of me again. I can't get into the house. What is this? I glared at him, and my son glared back. I couldn't help but laugh at his strength. Then, in the next moment, I felt a shock and my body shook and I fell to the ground. This house isn't my mother's anymore. It's ours. Don't go in without permission. What have they done to me and what have they said to me? I was just pushed away by my son. I don't know if it was a rebellious moment in my 4th year of school, but I was pushed away by my son in his 40s at 70 years old. I looked up at my son in a daze and he was grinning with his arms crossed. Behind him was Rina-san, who was also grinning. What are you both thinking? This is my house. There's no way around it. I can't believe my mother's pension was only just over 60,000 yen. If I had known, I would have done better. What do you mean? What is my son saying? By the way, I'm the eldest son. This house was going to be mine someday. It was a matter of whether it was sooner or later, so I decided to take it now. What's more, I found out that mom doesn't have much money. There's no use for an old person who has no money and is of no use. Get out right now. Wait a second. What are you being selfish with? I frantically kept asking, but Naomi blocked the entrance and refused to let me in. Then Rina came forward. Don't worry, Mom. I've put all of Mom's personal belongings out in the garden, so feel free to take them wherever you like. But you'd better hurry. I'm sure it was forecast to rain tomorrow. What? I was shocked and went around to the garden, and all my things were really scattered all over the place. What? I was speechless at the terrible situation. Rina spoke to me as I was at my wit's end. It seems like Mom treats us like a nuisance. I thought I'd make her understand her position here. I realized that elderly people living on pensions are nothing but a nuisance. Who would allow me to spend my small pension on playing around without doing much at home? I'm sure my son and his wife thought that if they lived with me, they could live comfortably without doing anything. But in reality, they were fed up with their small pension and their life without any luxuries. And in the end, they tried to get the house by force. Glaring at you guys doesn't have any effect on my son and his wife. They just keep grinning as usual. We changed the lock on the front door, so Mom can't come and go as she pleases anymore. It's too much, these unfortunate parents. Whatever, don't come crying to us even if things get tough in the future. Now that things are getting tough, I'm already crying because I've lost my base of operations. I wonder where and how I made a mistake in raising him. He used to be a good and kind child. I'm so frustrated and sad, I'm so mixed up with emotions that I can't even cry. And then Rina adds insult to injury. Hey, wouldn't it be better to cut him off even more? My son went along with it. That's good, it's troublesome if he relies on me. So from now on, we'll be cut off from Mom and I can't help it with President Cannon, but don't forget to prepare pocket money for us when he does. I don't understand. Why do I have to give my son and his wife pocket money at the President Cannon meeting? I was about to shout, "Don't mess with me," when I suddenly calmed down. No, wait a minute. Cut off. What, seriously? I don't have to take care of this useless son and his wife anymore? I don't have to use my small pension and inheritance for my son and his wife? What's that? Isn't it the best? Everyone except President Cannon is cut off. I double-checked. That's why I said that. Old people are so hard to understand, it's annoying. My son and his wife gave me a nasty laugh, but I don't have the time to worry about that. Right now, I'm just excited at the prospect of a peaceful everyday life finally returning. Is it really okay? I'm saying it's okay to cut off all ties because it's just a reminder. My son said it again. At that moment, I stood up. Is it okay? Okay, I'll gladly accept the cutoff, I yelled. Oh, I didn't expect such a reaction. My son and his wife looked surprised, but that doesn't matter. I want to get rid of this hell right now. I quickly took out my cell phone and called. The other person answered with a squall. Oh, hello, Sayuki. Yes, it's your mother. You know, the ghost thing you've been telling me about is urgent. How about today? Sayu is my daughter who lives far away. She's 2 years younger than me. I called that girl. Okay. I'm sorry it's so sudden. Thank you. Then I'll arrange for my luggage right away. I know a delivery company. I'm sure they'll take care of it. I'll contact you later. I hung up the phone and called another person. I repeated this several times, and before I knew it, the husband of the delivery company came and arranged for all my luggage left in the yard to be transported. They were running around in a hurry, and the luggage was carried away in an instant. Finally, my son and his wife, who had been watching the whole thing with anger, bowed their heads. Well then, I'll go to Sayuki's place. I probably won't see her again, but take care. Seriously? What are you doing? You guys brought it up, didn't you? Well then. They probably didn't expect me to be gone so quickly. As I waved my hand and left, my son and his wife just kept saying, and until the end. After a few hours on the train, I got to my daughter's place, and the luggage still wasn't there. I guess the train is faster. I told my daughter about the vandalism. My daughter seems to be angry and thinks that An's brother is the worst. Mom, please spend your time at home relaxing and having fun from now on. Thank you, Sayu. Actually, my daughter was worried about me and suggested that we go to Tokyo. I still think I'm doing well, and I don't want to disturb my daughter's family's life. I also didn't want to leave the house that was filled with memories of my husband. But it couldn't be helped that things had turned out this way. I bowed to my daughter, Mukaiko-san, and my grandchildren, and they all welcomed me warmly with smiles. There was no way I wouldn't cry. Even my grandchildren, who should be in the midst of their rebellious phase, were kind enough to tell me how hard it must have been for Grandma. Of course, the tension would break. My daughter's family quickly prepared a room for me, and I brought my belongings in, and the moment I stood in front of my husband's house, I breathed a sigh of relief. Thinking back, I realized that it was sad to give up the house, but I should be happy that the situation had improved so much. And then I remembered the words of my son and his wife. Everyone except President Khan is cut off. I muttered to myself as I remembered and shivered. Am I crying? Of course not. The devil's laugh came out of my mouth. I won't be involved except in anti-Korea investigations. Cut off. What is that? The best. If someone were to take a picture of my face now, the devil's smile would definitely be reflected in it. This is like the feelings of a demon king who has been released from his seal. Living with my son and his wife was really hard, even if it was only for a few months. It was really hard to take care of them at my advanced age. But that ordeal is over. I am finally free. I shouted without thinking, and the door opened and my daughter was standing there. Mom, are you going to go to the hospital with your eyes wide open? No, I'm fine, yes. My daughter's white eyes hurt. Well, from now on, I won't be able to relax at my daughter's family's house. It's not easy to cut off ties with them just by declaring estrangement. There are many things that need to be done at the first glance of my son and his wife. First of all, there's the issue of the title deed to the house. I wonder if they think they can sell it if they live in the house. If that's the case, I want to ask how they've lived their lives up until now. There are a lot of documents required for selling real estate. There are many documents such as the current period, survey maps, floor plans, and many more. I have a light and ID on my residence card, but how are they planning to proceed without me, the owner of the house? It's not like taking books to a bookstore and selling them. My son and his wife threw my room's things into the courtyard without even checking the contents. Fortunately, important documents were mixed in with them, so I have all the real estate documents in my hands. How is that girl planning to sell it? Well, it's not something I need to worry about. My son and his wife are just doing what they want. I'll do what I want too. What do you mean by getting ahead of the game? In this case, of course, it's the sale of the house. My son and his wife are saying they're going to sell their family home, which is full of family memories, but of course there's no way they can sell it. It would be scary if they sold it without having any rights. If such a loophole in the law exists, the world would be a crime scare. In other words, it's almost impossible for my son and his wife to sell it. I wanted to live in my precious house until the end, but now it's filled with memories I don't want to remember of my terrible cohabitation with my son and his wife. So why not just let it go and revel in the good old memories? In other words, a reset, yes. With some guidance, I consulted with a professional about selling the house. By professional, I mean, a real estate agent, a lawyer, etc. I don't know what else, so my daughter and I took action. As a result, we were able to proceed with the sale procedure without any problems. When I asked my daughter if we could sell the house while Naoya and the others were still living there, she said that it would be a so-called illegal election. What, is that going to happen? Does that mean we're going to kick out Nagoya and the others? Will those two really agree to it? I don't think they will. I guess my anxiety showed on my face. When my daughter saw my face, she grinned. Well, let's leave that kind of thing to the professionals in that field. What's a professional? A professional is a professional. I wonder if it was just my imagination that I felt something cold when my daughter grinned and said that. Well, before I get too deep into it, there are some things that are better left ignorant of the world. When I said that, my daughter nodded vigorously, so I could only smile bitterly. For a while after that, I spent my days sorting through the things that had been assigned to me and looking back on my memories with my husband. I kept sorting through them, but the mementos I saw kept coming, and I couldn't stop. One day, during the day on a weekday, I noticed some noise at the entrance. My grandchildren were at school, and my mother was at work. My daughter was part-time, so I was the only one in the house at the moment. The sound of the intercom rang out from the house. No packages were scheduled to arrive today. No cooling was scheduled. I wonder if they were going to sell it. It's the Reiwa era after all. I muttered to myself and ignored it, but it didn't happen. I got up and looked at the monitor, thinking it was really noisy. What? I recognized the face on the screen, and I couldn't help but scream. Now, and Rina. That's right. There was my son and his wife standing there with the face I had written. What's wrong, all of a sudden? I couldn't ignore my son and his wife, and when I opened the front door, they jumped on me, so I quickly moved to the side. My son had hit his face against the wall, but the wall was fine, so there was no problem. It's disgusting that you jumped on your mother while your nose was bleeding. You guys are so mean. I bet your mother avoided you because she was so happy that she tried to hug you. Also, the nosebleed came after you avoided her, so you didn't hug her while your nose was bleeding. Either way, please don't hug me. It's a long time since I used to love my son and hold him so much. A parent's love is not deep enough to make a 40-year-old man who laughs at his mother and chases her away think that he is cute. Think of your love for you as a puddle after the rain. You should understand that there is love even if it is only as deep as the puddle. It would not be strange if it dried up and became a desert. Do you realize that you have done that much? My son looks towards the day after tomorrow after my words. Not just the day after tomorrow, but is there even a tomorrow for you? What are you here for? I don't think you'd be trying to get away from your brother now, even though you've never been to my sister's house before. I guessed that the purpose of the visit was me, and when I asked, he scratched his head and said, how are you, Mom? Mom is doing well. What's that? I don't know, Kazuki. I'm a first-rate son. If that's all, please go home. My son panicked when I tried to push him outside, saying that he was cold, even though he was my son. You're kidding, aren't you? Mom, I'm asking you seriously. Are you living happily here? Thanks to you, I'm living a very healthy old age. You're kidding, right? I mean, how can you live happily when your son-in-law and grandchildren are annoyed with you? How can you be annoyed with them? Because, isn't it? An old man like this suddenly came to my house and monopolized an entire room. How dare you come to my house and live there? I blamed him for saying that, but my son continued to say it as if he didn't know. That's why I came to pick you up. I thought that you felt the tatami mat was too small. One side is very spacious, so please go home. I was getting annoyed with my son who was making assumptions, so I rolled up my sleeves to push him outside. Then my wife, Rena, said, Mom, don't be stubborn. I know your pain better than anyone else. Come on, let's go home. She said, opening her arms towards me. I wonder if she thought I was going to jump into her arms. No, I'm not. Where are you going home to? Of course, how are you going to go home after being kicked out of your house? The couple's eyes widen at my words. I checked and found 2 big bags at the entrance. I guess it was all their personal belongings. They were kicked out, right? Why not that? It was your mother's doing after all. They were kicked out of the house because of your mother. Please do something about it. I see. It seems that my daughter moved faster than I expected. I asked her to do everything, so I didn't know much about it, but it seems that she was secretly carrying out a plan to oust her son and his wife who were living in her parents' house. Even so, it was amazing that she was able to get rid of them. Well, it was probably a gentle way to do it, but if I knew about it, it would be troublesome, so it would be more peaceful to let it go without knowing. There are still many things in this world that I don't know, and as a result, my son and his wife left the house, so we ended up living there. If the house sells, the money is mine. Because we live there anyway. If you start saying things like that, what will happen to the rental property? I don't care about other people's affairs. That house is mine. It's mine anyway when my mother leaves this world. I'll sell it while I'm still alive, so it's none of your business. At least, give me some of the money from the sale. Because he's my cute son. Something snapped there. Who's my cute son? What about you, Mom? Who's my cute son? Whoa. Finally, my son let out a strange scream and sat down in front of my son who collapsed, and I said, smelling like a child. You see, that house was an important house left by his father. You two messed it up and then kicked me out. Who would continue to live in a house that's been covered in such terrible memories? Even my cute son. Who could love a son who would drive his parents away? Parents have feelings too. They have their limits. And I love you, love and everything. You don't even have a puddle of love anymore. From today on, I will revise my memory. My beloved son is no longer in this world. What I see in front of me now is a slender, fallen man. He's some old man with no home or money. I have no money or love to give to an old man I don't know. Get out of here. My throat hurts when I yell out in one go. I scream from the bottom of my heart. My son is being taken for a walk. I thought he would just go home, but Rina-san stepped forward undeterred. Mom, please give me some money. If you don't, we'll be lost on the road. Is it okay for your son to die alive? Do you think the dojo strategy is effective now? But if that's what you're thinking, I have an idea. I relaxed my strength and bent my back. Yes. I put my hand to my ear and asked, and Rina-san's face was scolded. So your son, Nagoya-san, will not be able to survive. Your small pension is better than nothing. Please support us. He said, you know, we need your pension. Hee hee. I'm a woman with a pension of 65,000 yen. I'm a 70-year-old grandmother who is getting by on that money. I gave the confused Rina a final blow, or rather, a single word. Who are you? Rina, who must have been angry at my acting as an elderly person, clenched her fist at that moment. Officer, come this way. A voice was heard and Rina and her son turned around to see a policeman running with a pale-faced grandson. A suspicious person is breaking into the house. Help Grandma. My son and his wife were treated as suspicious people and became furious. In the end, I explained to the police that my son and his wife had come to visit. However, since I told them I was scared, the policeman took responsibility and brought them back. Oh, thank goodness. When my grandson came home from school, he thought that I was having an argument with a man and woman he didn't know at the entrance to our house. It couldn't be helped. My uncle, who I haven't seen in years, and my uncle's wife, who I've never met, are complete strangers. Of course they called the police. My son and his wife were given a stern warning by the police, but there's no telling if they won't come again. However, my daughter and her husband took action again and issued a restraining order against me and my daughter's family, so my sons can't come here carelessly anymore. Thank you, everyone. I thank my daughter's family, but I'm not so happy. My daughter scolded me for letting my brothers into the house. Sigh. I don't know what happened to my son and his wife after that. However, I was able to sell my parents' house safely, so those two have no place to go back to. I can only hope that they have reflected on their actions and are living a good life. I happened to see my idiot brother today, and he was being taken away by some scary people. I heard my daughter say to the other person that it wasn't a debt or anything, but I'll pretend I didn't hear. In this world, it's often better not to know. That's exactly what happened to my son. If I don't know, I can assume that he'll recover somewhere. If that brings me peace of mind, then that's fine. My daughter and her husband get along well and are kind to me, and my grandchildren are rebellious but still kind, so I try not to be too heavy on them, and I enjoy hearing their fun old-fashioned words every day. By the way, I'm planning a trip with my daughter's family over the long weekend starting tomorrow. Dad, please wait a little longer. I'll bring you some really funny stories to take home. After talking to my late husband's house, I prepared for the trip with a mixture of flowery songs. Living on a pension at 70 is the best.
子供が産めないと世間体が悪いのよね。そうだぞ。馬詰めは黙って出て行け。そう言って、愛人を抱き寄せながらニヤニヤ笑う夫。姑も一緒になって私を見下すような目でこちらを見ている。はいはい、いいですよ。お望み通り出て行きますし、離婚もします。むしろそっちの方が私は幸せになれそうだもの。でもあなたたちは、ねえ、本当にその選択でいいのかしら。何も知らないって幸せね。いけないいけない。つい口元が緩んじゃった。私の名前はあずみ。運動不足解消にジムの体験入会をしてみたところ、ぎっくり腰になったので、1日で退会した38歳だ。あまりにも運動不足すぎると、運動自体できなくなるのよね。まずは整体に通うところからの開始かな、とほほ。体はガッタガタだが、その分生活は潤っているのが唯一の救いだろうか。ほんの8年ほど前、私は心も体も生活も何もかもがボロボロだった。修羅場だらけの結婚生活のせいである。当時の私はある悩みを抱えていた。それは20代の時に結婚した夫、健吾の仕事が全然続かないことだ。夫は交際していた時から働いていた町工場が AI 化したという時代の煽りを受けて潰れてしまってからというもの。仕事を短期間で転々としている。2年で4回の転職をして、最後の2回などはものの数ヶ月で辞めてしまった。仕事が合わない、と夫は言うが、ただ忍耐力がないだけだ。自分より年下の上司にヘコヘコしたくないとか、ああだこうだ仕事の不満ばかり述べて、その度慰めているが、翌日には仕事を辞めて帰ってくる。最初は見守ろうと思っていたけれど、夫婦喧嘩に発展するまでにそう時間はかからなかった。どこかで心を入れ替えて仕事を続けてくれるならば、私もこの出来事を夫婦の試練として耐え抜けたのだけど。今月家の支払いきついし、実家に仕送り頼むか。また？こんなやりとりが増えたのはいつからだっただろうか。夫の実家はそこそこの資産家だ。結婚してからその事実を知った。お金にうるさかったという姑は随分前に他界しており、それからは姑が家のお金を好きに使っているようだ。姑に長い間財布の紐を締められ続けた反動かもしれない。かといって使い道が多くあるわけでもない姑は、子供たちを甘やかすことにお金のすべてを注いだ。おかげで私たちが結婚した後に大学を卒業したはずの義弟のかけるは就職もせず、実家でニートをやっているありさまである。弟が甘えられるなら自分もいけるだろう、とたびたび無職になる夫が、私の知らないところで実家を頼るのは自然な流れだった。未成年ならまだしも、もう成人して何年もなる大人が実家を頼るのってあんまり良くないよ。私の言葉に夫はあからさまに顔をしかめた。いいんだよ、金余ってるし。母さんも寂しいから俺らに金使うのを喜んでるんだしさ。親孝行ってやつだよ。自活もできてないのに何が親孝行よ。あなたはもう私と結婚して家庭を持ったんだからもっとちゃんとしないと。うるせえな。俺が俺の実家をどう使おうと俺の自由だろ。それを言われると何も言えないではないか。夫が間違っている。それだけは分かっているのだが、言い返す術もなく、私は黙った。こうして夫は姑に家のローンのお金や生活費などの支援を当たり前のように要求し始め、ある日ついに事件が起きた。母さんが俺たちと同居したいって言うけどいいよな。え？夫の言葉に思わず私は絶句した。なんで？と聞くまでもない。理由は分かっていた。母さんが、どうせ私があんたたちの生活費を払ってるんだし、一緒に暮らした方が合理的じゃないかって言うんだよ。いいだろ？でしょうね。姑の言い分が最もであることはわかる。だが、同居なんてしたくない。かといって、ついに貯金も底を尽きた我が家には、今更姑を頼る以外の道なんてないわけで。短期間ならいいよ。 私の言葉に夫はきょとんとした顔で、なんでと言い返してきた。お母さんを頼って生活しようというのが間違ってるからよ。私も、今まであなたが反対するから働きに出なかったけど、もういいでしょ？働きに出ても。私も働くから、あなたも働いて家を支えましょうよ。なんで親を頼っちゃダメなんだ。母さんも喜んでるぞ。じゃあ聞くけど、一生お母さんを頼りにする気？お母さんは私たちより年上で、いずれは亡くなられるのよ。それでも一生お母さんを頼りにするの？それはその時だろ。お前が働きに出るようなことはしなくていいよ。妻を養うのは男の解消だからな。お前が働きになんて出たら、俺は世間から女も養えない男だって思われちまう。実際、今私を養ってるのはあなたじゃなくてお母さんじゃない。どこに行ったのよ、男の解消ってやつは。俺の実家が養ってるのは、つまり俺が養ってるってことだからいいんだよ。どんな謎理論だと思ったけど、何を言っても無駄なので、ああ、と、わざとらしいため息だけついて、私は夫との会話を終わった。夫婦の空気感は最悪だ。でももう、そんなことはどうでもよかった。離婚しようかな。そんな考えが私の脳裏に浮かぶようになったのはこの頃からである。結局、私の許可もないまま、夫は自分の考えを押し通し、姑と同居することになった。唯一の救いは、姑が義弟を義実家に置いてきてくれたことだ。あのニートもセットなんて言われたら、私のストレスは倍増していただろう。なんでそんなに姑と同居したくないんだって？答えは簡単だ。なんであずみさんは子供も作ってもいないのに働きに出るの？ある夕食時、私はそう言って姑に怒られた。生活費がないですし。それは私が支払ってるじゃない。あなたが働きに出る必要はないでしょ？健吾も反対してるっていうのに、どうしてそんな勝手なことするの？姑の反論に対し、一瞬私は言葉に詰まった。そう、この頃の私は、夫の反対申し切って勝手に仕事を始めたのだ。結婚前に勤めていた会社に無理を言って、また働かせてもらっている。いつ夫と離婚してもいいように、だ。なんせ、夫が無職だったおかげで、私の貯金もすっからかん。もし本当にこの生活が嫌になって、家を飛び出そうと思っても、お金がなければ何もできないだろう。実家に戻ればいいじゃないかって？うちの親は子供にお金をたかってくる毒親だったので、成人と共に縁を切っている。だから私には一人で生きる以外の選択肢がない。それを悲しいとか、思うことはなかったが、だからこそ夫が実家を安易に頼ることが私は許せなかったのかもしれない。これまで築いてきた夫への情はゼロじゃない。一度は好きになって結婚した人。だけど、日に日にその思いは冷めつつあった。しかし、そんな密かな思いをそのまま姑に伝えるわけにはいかない。私も少しでもこの家を支えたいんですよ。そう言って私が微笑むと、余計なことしなくていいの。と姑は不服そうに言い放った。仕事なんてしなくていいから、早く孫の顔でも見せてちょうだい。出た。妖怪、孫の顔見せろの登場だ。結婚してからというもの、姑からは頻繁に子供を催促されていた。なんで結婚して随分経つのに、あなたたち夫婦には子供ができないのかしらね。私なんて結婚した年には妊娠したわよ。ちょっとあずみさん、あなたの問題よ。笑ってないでもっと深刻に考えなさい。なんで子供ができないかって？そもそもここ最近はそういう行為すらしていない。だって夫が働いていないのに子供を授かろうなんて、無計画にも程があるじゃない。どうやって育てんのよ。アホなんじゃないのこの姑。と思いつつ私は黙った。だって二言目には私がお金は出すからって言うに決まってるもの。そのお金だって元はといえばお姑さんのものなのに。もともとしつこかった子供の催促が同居によってさらに悪化したおかげで私と姑との関係が日に日に悪くなったのは言うまでもない。そんなある日、寝ている私の布団に夫が潜り込んできた。何を急に。子供を作るぞ。はぁ？ 夫の言葉に目が点になる私。何言ってんの急に。お前だって母さんの催促が鬱陶しいんだろ？子供を作れば全部解決じゃないか。問題はそこじゃないでしょ？子供を作るって言うなら転職活動をしてからにしてよ。お母さんと同居してからハローワークすら行ってないじゃない。生活がまずくなったら考えるよ。先に解決すべきは子供だろ？それじゃ遅いのよ。順序が逆よ。なんなんだお前は。勝手に働きに出たと思ったら夫婦の務めまで放棄するのか。私を責めるなら自分もちゃんと夫としての務めを果たしてから言ってよ。社会的な務めすらできてないくせに。第一子供を作るのが私の務めっておかしいでしょ？わがままも大概にしろ。もう知らん。お前が頼んできたって俺は子供を作らないからな。そう言って夫は私のベッドから降りてふてくされながら寝室を後にした。本当にありえない。なんで私が悪者みたいに言われなきゃいけないの？ふつふつと湧き上がる怒りのせいで私はその夜眠れなかった。夫の顔なんてもう見たくない。とすら思ったが、幸いなことに私は翌日から県外に出張が決まっていた。上司が、奥さんに3ヶ月の県外出張は無理だよなぁ、と別の人に仕事を回そうとしていたところを、どうしてもやらせてほしいと頼み込んだ仕事だ。結婚しているからと仕事を減らされたらいつまで経っても一人で暮らせるほどの働きはできない。だからこそこの仕事は絶対に受けたいと思っていたが、夫ももしかしたらそういう私の微妙な心情を察知しているのかもしれない。それが昨夜のあの行動につながったんだろうなぁと想像してため息が出た。もう夫とやっていける気がしない。それから3ヶ月。もやもやした思いを抱えながら、無事に3ヶ月間の出張業務をやりこなした私は、重い足取りで自宅に戻ったのだが、家の鍵を差し込んで回した瞬間、キャーッと玄関越しに声が響いた。はて、と思い扉を開くと、目の前で女性が夫に抱きついていた。後ろには焦った様子の姑が立っている。え、何事？ポカンとする私に、あちゃーと声を上げる夫。姑も頭を抱え、女は私から目をそらすように夫の胸に顔を埋めている。どういうこと？私の問いかけに、夫は何も答えず頭をかく。すると姑が、見たままだよ、と言った。いつまで経ってもあんたが子供を作ろうとしないから、健吾が新しい女性を見つけたってだけさ。つまりその女性が、健吾の愛人ってことですか？自分でも驚くほど冷たい声で私が尋ねると、夫は、そういうことになるな。と、まるで人事のような回答を淡々と返してきた。腹立つ。その女性とはいつからなの？私が出張に行く前から？お前が出張に行った日にアプリで知り合った。で、家に招いて、なし崩し的に一緒に暮らしてた。ちょっとめんどくさそうに話す夫の言葉に私は絶句した。知り合って日の浅い女を自宅に招くなんてありえないでしょ、いろいろと。それもアプリで知り合ったなんて。一歩間違えれば事件が起きてニュースになっていてもおかしくない。信じらんない。お母さんもそれを何も言わなかったんですか？もちろん。だって私が他の女を見つけなさいって言ったんだもの。犯人はお前か。姑曰く、私がいない間がチャンスだから、夫にはその間に女を作らせ、なんなら子供もこさえてしまえという考えだったらしい。その後のことは金で解決すればいいと思っていたんですって。呆れた。まあでも、安住さんに文句は言えないわよね。いや、文句しかないですけど、この家は私の家でもあるのに、愛人連れ込まれて文句も言わないほど穏やかな嫁じゃないです、私。勝手に働きに出て家を空けたあなたが悪いんじゃない。子供も産めないし。だから健吾に別の女をあてがうしかなかったのよ。は？意味がわからない？子供が産めない嫁なんて世間体が悪いって言ってるの。姑の言葉にやや違和感を感じ、子供が産めないと私は聞き返した。すると、だってあなた不妊なんでしょ？健吾に聞いたわよ。だからあなたたちの間には子供ができないって。まったく、そういうことは早く言ってちょうだい。それを知ってたらさっさとあなたたちを離婚させたのに。 姑の言葉を聞き、私は思わず目を見開いて夫の方を見た。馬詰めは出て行け。俺には嫁の務めを果たさないお前なんてもう必要ない。彼女がいればそれでいい。第一彼女はもう俺の子を妊娠してるんだ。そう言ってニヤニヤしながら女性を抱き寄せる夫。私にざまあ見ろとでも言いたげだ。もう妊娠もしてるねえ。さしずめ私を追い出すためにお母さんへ嘘をついたってところかしら。器のちっちゃい男ね。私の言葉に夫は少しだけ顔を引きつらせた。図星だったのだろう。私、不妊じゃありませんよ。健吾との間に子供を作る気がなかっただけです。私の反論に、はいはいとあしらうように笑う姑。やれやれ、何を言っても無理そうだ。まあいい。私だってもうこんな家に未練はないのだから。わかりました。出て行きます。でもこれは立派な浮気。離婚の時に慰謝料も請求させてもらいますからね。お金なんていくらでもあるからいいわよ。そう言って鼻で笑う姑。夫も、母さんがいてよかったよ。なんて言っている。姑もそんな夫に、孫の顔を見せてくれたら全部チャラよ。なんて言っているが、果たしてそんなにうまくいくかしら。この人たちは何も気づいてないみたいだけど、せいぜい束の間の幸せを楽しむことね。なんて悪い考えを持ちつつ、私は夫と暮らした家を飛び出し、しばしの間ホテル暮らしをしながら離婚の話を進めた。なんですぐに家を借りなかったのかって？ちょうど春先で近隣のマンションは学生や転勤族に取られていたのだ。おかげでしばらく苦労を強いられた。こういうトラブルがあると、夫に何と言われようと、働いててよかったと思わずにはいられない。なんとか生活も安定させることができ、夫との離婚も無事成立。宣言通り慰謝料ももらえることになったし、財産分与もできた。晴れて自由の身だと思っていたら、離婚が成立した翌日、事件が起きた。あずみ、どうしよう、助けてくれ。そう言って、半べそ気味で夫と姑が私の引っ越し先に現れた。荷物を送るために住所を教えたのが失敗だったな。と心の中で舌打ちをしつつ、何の用と尋ねると、彼女が、七子が消えたんだ。夫の切羽詰まった言葉に私は思わずブハッと吹き出してしまった。当然、何がおかしいと夫が怒る。いや、だって、そりゃそうだろうなと思って。お母さんもあなたも気づいてなかったみたいだけど、あの子はネットで有名な結婚詐欺師よ。は？あなた、SNS とかやらないもんね。ネットの注意書きなんて見る機会もないか。なんか資産家とか会社経営者ばかりを狙って、5歳業まがいのこともしてるみたい。でも証拠がないし、結婚詐欺自体立件しにくいから捕まったりもせず野放しのままみたいよ。嘘だろ？ちょっと探せばまとめサイトとかで被害者からの話やあの子の顔写真出回ってるわよ。ほら、これ。そう言って私が彼女のことをまとめてあるブログを見せると、夫は顔面蒼白になった。嘘だろ？待て、でもあの子は七子だ。このブログの女の名前はかな子じゃないか。別人だ。いや、普通に偽名でしょ？複数のアプリ使いこなしていろんな男性と出会ってるみたいだし。見てよ、この目元に並んだ3つの泣きぼくろ。あの子と完全一致じゃない。自分の愛人はそんな女じゃない、と思いたかったのだろうが、決定的な証拠を突きつけられた夫はその場でうなだれた。姑もまた、なんてことなのと頭を抱える。でも、SNS もやってないあなたがどうして狙われたのかしらね。資産家なのは実家であって、あなた自身は無職なのに。私のぼやきに、夫がうめくような声でこう言った。プロフィールに仕事はしてないけど、実家が金持ちだから苦労させないって書いてた。その方が女が寄ってくると思って。と。アホだ。アホがいる。近年稀に見る大アホだ。そんなプロフィールじゃ自分から、金目当ての皆さんどうぞ僕を狙ってください、と言っているようなものである。 あまりのアホさ加減に私が言葉を失っていると、夫は、なんで教えてくれなかったんだと、半泣き気味に私を責めた。いや、だって聞かれてないし。聞かれてなくても教えるのが優しさってものだろ？いやいや、子供ができたって浮かれてる人に、そんな水差すようなこと言えないわよ。嘘つけ、顔が笑ってるぞ。そうだ、ナナコは俺の子を妊娠してたのになんでこんなことを。やっぱり何か理由があるのかもしれない。あ、それ、あの子のいつもの手口だよ。私の言葉に、鳩が豆鉄砲を食ったような顔になる夫と姑。手口？と言葉を覚えたての子供のように私の言葉を繰り返している。子供ができたって言って家に転がり込んでるみたい。天涯孤独とか言ってなかった？家がないとか。言ってた。じゃあもう間違いないね。ご愁傷様。まんまと引っかかったね。頼る人がいないって言って家に転がり込んで、その家のお金を使い込むのがあの子の手口よ。ゲラゲラ笑う私の前で、ついに言葉を失う夫と姑。しかし姑だけが何かの執念なのだろうか、声を振り絞るように。それじゃあ子供は？とうめいた。妊娠自体が嘘でしょうね。これは予想ですけど、健吾も働いてないし、慰謝料の支払いもある。この家のお金はもう限界。と思われたから、このタイミングで逃げられたんじゃないですか？私の言葉に姑はしばし考え込んだ後、昨日の会話のせいかも。とぼやいた。会話？離婚も成立したし、子供も生まれるんだから、再婚準備をしなきゃねってあの子に言ったのよ。私、良かれと思って。そりゃ相手にとっちゃ絶望的だったでしょうね。結婚する気はなかっただろうし、子供もほぼ間違いなく嘘だろうし、さっさとこの家出ないとってなったんでしょ？そんな。まあ、どう転んでも騙されてたんですから、出て行かれたことを落ち込むのは無駄なことだと思いますよ。それもそうね。夫に比べると、姑の方がまだ少しだけ冷静らしい。落ち込んではいるが、何もかも嘘だったことを受け止められているようだ。一方夫は、俺が騙されるわけないと何度も小声でつぶやき、ちょっと傍目から見ると危ない人になっている。女性に逃げられたショックで完全に壊れてしまったようだ。子供ができるってウキウキしてたからね。と姑も困ったものを見るような視線で夫を見つめていた。もともとは姑の方が孫を待ち望んでいたはずだが、いざ子供ができたとなったら、夫の方が子供を楽しみに思っていたようだ。その分、ショックも大きいということかな、と思っていたら、彼女が、奥さんいる相手と本当に結婚できるのか不安って言うから、俺誠意を表すつもりで、彼女に母さんのタンスにあった400万渡したんだよな。は？夫の言葉に鬼のような顔で目を向く姑。あれは、あずみさんに今回の件の慰謝料として渡そうと思ってたのに。私宛てのお金ですか？そうよ。一応念押しで言っておきますけど、いいねでくれるって言ったのはそっちですからね。私は今更慰謝料の金額負けたりしませんからね。私の言葉に姑が爪を噛んだ。いまいましそうに夫を睨んでいる。日頃、お金ならいくらでもある、なんて言っている姑だが、さすがに400万を取られたのは痛かったらしい。まあ、消えた分の400万をもう一度準備するとなると、計800万円で行くことになるわけだから無理もない。あんたって子は、どうしてくれるんだ！とここに来て初めて姑が、わかりやすく夫に嫌悪感を示した。義弟にしろ夫にしろ、あんなに可愛がっていたのにね。金の切れ目が縁の切れ目ということなのかもしれない。でも、元は姑が、夫に他の女を見つけさせたのが全ての始まりなわけで、どっちもどっちよね、と思いつつ、私は仲間割れして大揉めする親子をニヤニヤ眺めていた。その後、私には姑から慰謝料と称し400万が無事に支払われた。愛人の件もなんとか警察沙汰にしようとしたようだが、ダメだったようだ。無理もない。彼女はお金を盗んだりしたわけじゃない上に、結婚詐欺自体がそもそも立証しにくいらしいから。 結局夫たちは泣き寝入りとなり、この件がきっかけで、姑は夫と縁を切り、義実家に戻った。湯水のようにお金を使っていた姑だけど、一度に800万飛んでいったのはさすがにきつかったのだろう。おまけに孫も得られなかったわけだし、姑にとっては何も得られないままお金だけがなくなっているので怒るのも無理はない。相変わらず働く気のない夫は家の支払いもできなくなったため、私に復縁を要請したり、義弟に頼んで姑との仲を取り持ってもらおうともしたようだがうまくいかず。仕方なく働きに出ようとしたものの、転職回数の多さと無職期間が長すぎてどこにも採用されなかった。危ない金融会社にお金を借りたりもしたようで、私の元にも元妻というだけで借金取りが来たことがある。最後は差し押さえにあったりもしていたようで、そのうち家もなくなった。その後の夫の消息は私も知らない。ひょっとしたら公園で寝泊まりしているかもしれないな。姑はというと、まだ孫が諦められなかったのか、義弟を結婚させようと躍起になっていたが、何年もニートで働きもしない男と結婚するような推挙な女性がいるわけがない。当然、義弟は結婚できず、義実家の財産を蝕むだけの存在となっている。なんとか働かせようと試みたこともあったようだが、義弟が切れて暴れたので何も言えなくなったそうだ。私に元家族のよしみで助けてほしいと言われたこともあるが、無視させてもらった。いつまでも子供を甘やかすからこんなことになるんですよ、お母さん。自業自得の言葉の意味をじっくり理解してほしいところである。一方私は離婚したおかげで今まで以上に仕事がしやすくなり、離婚から2年で昇進を果たした。再婚？してない。あんなのもうゴリゴリだ。その代わり家族が増えた。私には子供の頃から仲良くしてくれた年上のいとこがいるのだが、そのいとこが数年海外勤務になったのだ。しかし当時中学生の娘のゆきと息子のりょうは海外の学校に行きたくないと転勤に猛反発。何が何でも日本に残りたいと言い出し、いとこに代わって私がその子たちと一緒に暮らすことになったのだ。子供の頃から可愛がってきた子たちだけど、一緒に暮らすのはうまくいくのか心配もあった。しかし、3人での生活は意外と楽しくて、休日はみんなで一緒にウィンドウショッピングをしたり、疲れて帰ってきた夜は2人でご飯を作って待っていてくれたりする。一応私は彼らにとって保護者ではあるが、親というよりも兄弟のような距離感で楽しく過ごしている。先日も3人で夜に花火をした。我ながら、年がいもなくはしゃいでしまったのは言うまでもない。若い頃に戻ったみたいだ。2人からはおばちゃんって呼ばれてるんですけどね。お姉ちゃんって年じゃないからいいですけどね。だ。でもこんなことを言うと、ゆきから、女は思い込みも大事。若いって思い込めば若くなるからおばちゃんも思い込んで、なんて怒られるので、気持ちはいつまでも若く持っておこうと思う。いろいろあったけど、新しい形の家族を得て、毎日楽しい日々を送っている。
お宅の娘さんが運転中に問題を起こされました。ひどい煽り運転ということでして、事情を聞きたく出頭していただけますか？出頭？逮捕されるんですか？
突然我が家にやってきた警官は厳しい顔でそう私に言うのだった。でもどうしよう。私は首をひねる。どうしよう。我が家には子供がいないのだけど。私の名前はメイコ。48歳の兼業主婦だ。夫のタカトと結婚して20年。残念ながら子供には恵まれなかった。子供を諦めてから8年。夫婦2人で仲良く楽しい余生を過ごそうと思い、引退後に向けて仕事に励む日々だ。引退後はいろいろなことをやりたいし、旅行もあちこち行きたいから貯金しとかないとね。ただ、夫はその点に関してはあまり乗り気ではない様子。営業という仕事柄、出張の多い夫。支店が多いそこそこ大きい企業の差がなのかもしれないが、なかなかに寂しいものがある。留守の多い出張亭主曰く、 仕事で散々旅をしたから、老後は家でゆっくりしたい、だそうな。いろいろな名所のお土産を堪能させてもらってるのでわかるが、確かにどこに行っても新鮮味には欠けるだろう。でも世界は広い。日本だけでも知らない場所、行ったことない場所なんて山のようにある。そんなこと言わずにとなだめながら旅行会社のパンフを見ては面白そうな場所を今からリストアップする。旅行は行く前が一番楽しいと言うけれど、旅行に行けるかどうかも怪しいのはちょっと悲しい。どうにか夫が行く気になってくれたらいいなと思いながら、今日も私は仕事に向かう。旅行といえば、電車やバスを乗り継いだり、ご当地名物な駅弁を買うのも楽しみの一つだ。これもまた、夫と意見が異なる。夫は他人と一緒に公共手段を使うのがどうにも嫌なようだ。その上、決まった時間に駅に行かねばならないのも気に食わないと。なので夫の希望は自動車で移動だ。でも自動車でとなると行動範囲はかなり狭くなる。若いうちなら多少の遠距離運転も無理できたかもしれないが、私が希望するのは定年後の話だ。長距離運転は正直避けたい。それにやっぱり二人で車窓の景色を楽しみたいではないか。夫はそういう景色を堪能するというのも興味がないらしい。どれもこれも意見がすれ違う私たち夫婦。果たして定年後はどうなるのだろうかと不安がよぎってしまう。私が自動車を利用するのを嫌う理由に、夫の運転技術への不満もある。夫の運転はどうにも荒いのだ。そんなに技術が高いとも思えないのに、スピードは出すし、無理な車線変更はするし、ウインカー出さないなんて頻繁にあって大問題。急発進に急ブレーキなど論外だ。その度に注意するのだが、夫は、運転してない奴は黙ってろと怒鳴るのだ。ならば私が運転するわとハンドルを握れば、どんくさい、さっさと行けよ。黄色は進めだろうが、と理解できないことで怒鳴ってくる。黄色は止まれです。夫が運転しても、私が運転しても言い争いに発展し、全くドライブを楽しむことができない。目的地に着くまでに帰りたいと思ってしまうのだ。そんなわけで、私は夫とはドライブがしたくない。旅行なんて長時間ともなればなおさらである。車じゃないなら旅行など行かん。という夫をどうやって説得すればよいのかしらと、貯金をしていくこと以上に難題な問題に頭を抱えるのだった。そんなある日、ちょっと離れたショッピングモールに行こうと車に乗り込んだ時のこと。私が運転するよ。うるせえ、俺の車だ、俺が運転する。お前の運転じゃ着くのが夜になるだろうが。そんなわけあるか、という反論は夫の睨みにかき消される。運転気をつけてね。うるせえ、俺に指図すんな。ああ、もっと若くて可愛くて、俺を思ってくれることドライブしてえな。そんな言い方ないんじゃないの？あまりにひどい言い草にぎゅっと唇を噛み締めた時だった。助手席に座ろうとして気づく。あら、これ何かしら。助手席のシート、そこに何かが落ちてるのだ。小さいそれを拾い上げれば、どうやらイヤリングのようだ。今時ピアスじゃないのも珍しいが、私も耳に穴を開けるのが嫌でイヤリング派だ。でもそこに落ちていたものは私のではなかった。だが、花をイメージした可愛らしいデザインなので、女性のものなのは明らか。これどうしたの？と夫に聞くと、夫は顔色を変えることもなく、ああ、多分部下のだな。と答えたのである。部下って女性？そんなイヤリングを男性がすると思うか？それはそうでしょうけど、どうしてこんなとこに落ちてるの？昨日だったか、外回りの時に一緒に行ったんだ。現場教育の一環でな。え、この車で？自家用車で行ったの？車用車は？あいにく昨日は出払っててなかったんだ。でも急ぎの案件だったから仕方なしにこの車で行った。
そう。本当か嘘かなんてわからない。ただ昨日は確かに仕事だったし、怪しいと思うようなことでもないだろう。部下っていくつくらいの女性なの？そんなこと聞いてどうするんだよ。なんかうざいんだけど。そうは言われても気になるではないか。私がじっと夫を見つめてると、鬱陶しそうにため息をつきながら。確か短大卒でうちに入って2年だったかな。と教えてくれた。つまり22歳ということか。となれば、なおさら怪しい点はないだろう。50代目前の夫と22歳がまさか怪しい関係になるなんて思えない。夫はともかく相手の女性はかなり若いのだ。好き好んでこんなやぼったいおじさんに恋心を抱くはずもないだろう。自分の夫だし、私にとってはいくつになっても素敵な人だとは思ってる。だが他人はそう思わないことくらい私だってわかってるのだ。間違っても、うちの旦那さん素敵でしょなんてのろける気は一切ない。だから油断してたのだ。40年以上も生きながら私はうっかり忘れていたのだ。人の好みは千差万別。自分の考えが他人にも当てはまるなんてこと、絶対ないんだってこと。私は忘れてたのである。それは唐突だった。ある日突然、我が家に警察がやってきたのである。青いシャツの上に黒の直帰に警察帽をかぶった、一目見て警察だとわかる姿の人が玄関に立っていた。最初、インターフォンが鳴ってモニターを見たときはぎょっとしたものである。たまに地域のおまわりさんが来るけれど、地域の交番の人ではなかった。警官の後ろにはセダンタイプのパトカー。地域の軽自動車タイプではない。一体何事かと恐る恐る出ると、難しい顔をした男女の警官が、ちょっとよろしいですか？と聞いてきた。なんでしょう？お宅の娘さんが運転中に問題を起こされました。え？昨今非常に問題になってる煽り運転です。かなり悪質で、幅寄せクラクション、被害者の車の前に出て急ブレーキ、かと思えば横並びして窓から物を投げる。さすがにこの通報は見過ごせませんので、確認のために出頭していただきたいと思います。出頭？逮捕されるんですか？いえ、出頭は呼び出しの要請であり、お話を聞くだけです。逮捕ではありません。あくまで任意ですが、何も悪いことをしてないという自信があるのであれば、素直に応じていただけるとありがたいです。そうですか。別に何も悪いことしてないのに、どうして警察との会話ってこんなに緊張するんだろう。しかも、出頭とか言われて、ドキドキが止まらない。ちなみに恋ではない。でも困ったなぁ、と私は頭を悩ませてしまった。でも、そうですか。娘なんですよね。ええ、ドラレコ映像にバッチリ顔が映ってまして、明らかに若い女性です。車のナンバーからお宅の車であることを割り出しまして、お嬢さんだなと判断いたしました。そうですか。でも困りました。頬に手を当て、首をかしげた私は眉を下げて困った顔をした。それを不思議そうに警官が見てくる。と言いますと？うちに子供はおりませんのよ。え？私の言葉に二人の警官が同時に驚きの声を上げた。そうよ、うちに子供はいない。だから私は老後を夫と二人、楽しく生活できるようにと頑張っていたのだ。なのにどうしてうちに子供がいることになってるんだろう。戸惑う私に戸惑う警官。しばしの沈黙の後、男性の警官が聞いてきた。ちなみにお車は今どこに？ガレージに置いてます。夫は昨日から出張で留守にしており、タクシーで直接駅に向かった。いつもは通勤に使われている車は現在家にある。電車通勤の私は平日使うことは滅多となく、今日も先ほど帰宅したばかりで車には近寄ってもいなかった。 警官に場所を教える必要もないくらいにすぐわかる。家の横手のガレージに3人で向かった。これです。ああ、被害者の方が見せてきたドラレコ映像にある車種とナンバーですね。ちょっと拝見。そう言っておまわりさんは車を外からじろじろ見ていた。実際は短い時間だろうに緊張してるせいか随分長く感じた。しばらくして女性の警官が車内を指さしていった。ドラレコが設置されてますね。中身を確認してもよろしいですか？ええ、いいですよ。そうそう、この車にはドラレコを設置していたのだった。前後プラス車内の3カ所を撮影している。たまにちゃんと撮影できてるか確認しないとなぁと思いつつ、面倒で放置していたドラレコ。通報者によると1週間前ですが、残ってますか？確か1ヶ月分は残っていると前に主人に聞いたことがあります。じゃあ大丈夫ですね。1週間前と聞いて何かが引っかかった。1週間前といえば、夫が部下と外回りでこの車を使ったと言ってた時ではなかったか？ではその同僚が煽り運転をしたということだろうか。でもなぜ夫ではなく部下が運転を？首をかしげつつ、私は家の中からパソコンを持ってきた。エンジンかけてドラレコを立ち上げてみる。というのもできたが、狭い車内で小さな画面を見て検証は難しいと思ったからだ。記憶用カードを取り出しパソコンにセット。そこに映し出された映像に私はあっけに取られるのであった。翌日。ただいま。疲れた。飯は食ってきたからいらん。風呂入って寝る。お疲れ様でした。あなた、お話があります。俺はない。寝る。私はあります。出張から帰宅した夫は、風呂場に直行しようとしたところを私に阻まれて不機嫌そうな顔をする。俺は出張から帰ったばかりで疲れてるんだぞ。お前には俺をいたわろうという気持ちは。有給取ってた人間をいたわる気持ちはありません。ないのか。会社に確認済みです。あなた、3日間の有給取ってたんですってね。何を言ってるんだ。俺は確かに出張で、社の人間が間違えたんだろ？いいえ。確かにあなたは有給を取ってます。優香さんと一緒にね。突然出た、優香という名前に、夫は明らかに動揺していた。目が泳ぎすぎて魚みたいになっている。夫と同時期に有給取ってる人いますかと聞いたら教えてくれたわ。社のプライバシー保護は大丈夫なの？聞いときながらなんだが、ほいほい教えてくれる会社ってどうなの？まあ私は助かったけどね。私の問いに夫の顔は青ざめた。あなた今回の出張は一人だって言ってたわよね。でもパソコンに残ってた履歴から、あなたが旅行サイトでホテルを予約したのが分かったわ。大人2名ってどういうこと？お前勝手に見たのか？今そんなの関係ないでしょ？自分勝手この上ない夫の怒りをねじ伏せるように、私はくわっと顔を怒らせて言い返した。ひっと小さな悲鳴を上げて夫が縮こまる。私は夫の間違った行動によく怒るけど、ここまで怒りをあらわにしたことはない。夫は私の剣幕に青ざめるのだった。で、どういうことなわけ？これまで散々私にキレてくれた夫だが、もう容赦はしない。にっこりと笑みを浮かべるも、明らかにキレてる私の目を見ようとせずに、あさっての方向を見ながら夫は、知らねえよ、と言った。途端私の形相が変わる。知らないわけないでしょ？2人で旅行に行ってたのは分かってるのよ。バンとテーブルを叩けば、夫の体が軽く5センチは飛び上がった気がする。なんだよそれ。黙って旅行に行ったのはたまには一人になって気分転換したかったからだよ。気分転換ですって？そうだ。だいたいな、お前と一緒じゃ俺の気分は安らがん。一人でゆっくり旅でもして。あなた、旅行はもういいって言ってたわよね。 お前と一緒はごめんだって意味だ。俺はのんびり一人で行きたいけど、部屋は広いのが良くてツインに泊まっただけだ。大人二人で予約する必要ないでしょ？俺の勝手だろ？証拠もない勝手な想像で、女と言ってたとか決めつけんな！確かに探偵を頼む余裕はなかったから証拠はない。だが、今回の出張と称した旅行の証拠はありません。でも、浮気の証拠ならあるわ。そう言って、私はバッとノートパソコンを開いてみせた。そのモニターに映し出されたものを見た瞬間、うわっ！と夫は叫んだのだ。
ねえねえ、今日はどこに行くの？
若い女の声が流れる。モニターには夫の車に設置されたドラレコ映像が流れていた。運転席には夫。運転中の夫にしなだれかかるは助手席の若い女性。察するに彼女が優香という女性だろう。案の定夫が、優香が気に入りそうな高級ホテルで夜景を見ながら食事をしよう。と言った。
嬉しい！
そう言って優香は夫に抱きつくのだった。どうでもいいが、夫は運転中だよね。なんという危ないことしてるんだこのバカップルは。
でもいいの？奥さんと行かなくて。
あんな枯れ切った女と行ったところで時間と金の無駄だ。俺は優香と行きたいんだよ。
嬉しいな。
なんともはや、典型的な浮気カップルの会話だなぁ、というのが私の感想。昨日警察の人と一緒にこれを見たときはショックを受けたものだ。だがすぐに思った。これは一体何の罰ゲームだと。何が悲しくて私は赤の他人である警官と夫の浮気現場を見てるんだ。なぜ真っ赤な他人の前で私がけなされてる言葉を聞かねばならんのだ？どうしましょうか。なんだか申し訳なさそうな顔を向ける男性警官。こんな修羅場を見せて私の方が申し訳ないですよ。そして恥ずかしい。とりあえず、目的の動画を探してください。というのが精一杯だったわ。そして衝撃の映像が流れるわけである。
運転って面白そう。私もやってみたいな。
いいぞ、運転するか？と言って、あろうことか、夫は彼女に運転させたのである。ちょっと！この車の保険、運転者は本人と配偶者限定のはずでしょ？なんてことしてんのよ！なんつう恐ろしいことをさせてるんだと青ざめた私である。そしてパソコン画面を見て青ざめる夫に私は言った。本当にね、顔から火が出るほど恥ずかしかったわよ。水かけるか？アホか。何を言ってよいかわからないからって出た言葉がそれ？こっちは呆れてアホかしか言葉が出ないわ。呆れて思い出した昨日の警官とのやりとりの続き。それじゃあ、普段の煽り場面は、彼女が運転し始めたからもうすぐでしょうね。で、早速ですか。驚くというより、呆れた顔の警官。モニターを見れば、前方の車に非常に近づいていた。うわ、近っ。運転する者からすれば、この距離は恐怖でしかない。もし相手が何かしらの理由で急ブレーキ踏んだらどうするの？絶対ぶつかるって距離だよね。さらに優香は前方の車の横に並んで窓を開けてわめいている。
おばさん、遅いのよ！のろのろ走ってんじゃね
えよ！いえ、先ほど外が映ってましたが、そこの法定速度は40キロ。前方の車はおよそ45キロってとこで走行してますよね。それを遅いとか。
下手くそなくせに、運転してんじゃねえよ！
あろうことか、優香はそう言って、置いてたペットボトルを隣の車に投げつけたのである。ゴンとぶつかる音がドラレコに入っていた。なんて恐ろしいことを。さらにそのままスピードを上げて前に出たかと思えば急ブレーキ。うわっと 思わず悲鳴上げて目を閉じてしまったよ。だが、背後の車はギリギリブレーキが間に合ってぶつかりはしなかった。その瞬間、チッという優香の声が聞こえていた。
ぶつけさせて慰謝料踏んだくろうと思ってたのに。
優香は悪い女だな。
何言ってるのよ。お金を手に入れようとするいい女でしょ？
確かに。もういいや。思わず私は、胸くそ悪いのでもういいですか？と言ったのだった。動画はすべてパソコンにコピーし、原本となる記憶カードは警官に渡した。警官が帰っていった後、すぐに私はとあるものを印刷するのであった。はいこれ。そして今、夫にその印刷物を渡した。なんだよこれ。離婚届？そう。私の分は記入済みだから、サクサク書いてね。書かねえよ。なんでよ。私と離婚して、優香ちゃんとやらと再婚すれば？若くて可愛いんでしょ？あいつは遊び相手だからいいけど、生涯を共にするのはしんどい。まさかの自分勝手すぎる言い分にめまいがするわ。はぁ？好きなんじゃないの？若くて可愛いとこは好きだ。じゃあ、だが女はいずれ年老いる。だから優香がもっと老けたら、また若い女を見つけて、そっちと付き合う気で。何言ってんだお前。俺、今なんて言った？思わずポロッと出ちゃったってか？夫のとんでもない人生計画にまためまいを感じる。もういい。若い女と次々にってのが希望なら好きにすれば？私は離婚するから。だから、若い女とずっと一緒は疲れるんだって。ほら、料理だって箸休めが必要だろ？それが俺にとってはお前であって。箸休めとか言われた瞬間、私の中から冷静の二文字が消え去った。そんなの知るか！うわ！若い女を食べたいなら一生食ってろ！でもって、勝手に胸焼けでも何でもしてろ！人を勝手に箸休めにすんじゃないわよ！私だってまだまだメインディッシュなんですからね！いや、それは無理だろ。はい、サインして。はい、出て行ってください。二度と帰ってくんな。冗談です。笑えないので、笑いのセンス磨いてこい。磨いたら帰ってきてもいい？磨きすぎてハゲてしまえ！あまりにくだらない夫にいい加減限界が来た私は叫んで夫の首根っこを掴んで外におっぽり出した。こういう時、女には隠された底力があるんだ。許してくれ、メイコ。ほんの出来心だったんだよ。俺にはお前だけだ。扉の向こうで叫んでる夫。私は一度鍵を開けて扉の向こうを覗き見る。そこには、許してくれるのか？と涙目の夫。そんな夫に私はポイッと投げつけるのだった。これは？あなたと行こうと思ってた旅行のパンフ。どうぞ若い女の子と好き勝手に言ってくださいな。言葉を失う夫を置いて、もう一度扉を閉めた。夫の気配が消えるまで、その扉が開くことはなかったのである。その後、とんでもない事実が発覚した。なんと、夫の浮気相手である優香という女性、無免許だったのだ。夫の運転を見よう見まねで覚えて、運転していたわけだ。なんて恐ろしいことを。夫は知らなかったと言ってるが本当だろうか。どちらにしろ、二人には警察から厳しい罰があったと聞く。夫とは当然離婚。慰謝料はきっちりいただいた。もちろん相手の優香からも取った。優香は無免許運転という大罪に、元夫と二人しての会社倫理に反する行為をした。それが理由で二人は解雇になったらしい。もともと共働きで私の収入があったからこそ贅沢な浮気生活ができていた元夫。私への慰謝料支払いに失業という状態であっという間に極貧生活に落ちたみたいだ。私に家を追い出されてからしばらくは実家に身を寄せていたが、離婚理由を知った両親に追い出されたとか。 優香と二人ボロアパートで暮らしていたが、すぐに生活は破綻。そりゃ二人してプー太郎じゃ、あっという間にお金はなくなるわな。が、女は強い。
私、パパができたから、バイバーイ。
と、優香はさっさと出て行ったらしい。褒めることじゃないけども見事だ。一方の元夫は困り果てたのか、寂しくなったのか絡んできたが、ヘルプのメッセージが山のように来たところで、塩のイラストを送って着信拒否。その後どうなったのかは知ったところではない。伴侶に裏切られた私は、もう結婚はこりごりと、自由気ままな一人暮らしを満喫している。最近は子育てが終わった友人と連絡を取ることが増えた。一人旅もいいけれど、たまに友人との旅行も楽しむ日々。あ、今度はここに行ってみたいなぁ。そうつぶやく私の手には旅行雑誌が握られているのだった。
This is not a place for poor people and old ladies to come. You seem to be ignorant of your place, so I wonder if they'll cut your salary next month. Oh, at the inn I visited on my beloved grandmother's birthday, the devil suddenly appeared in front of me, and the president who works me every day said something outrageous. However, right after that, my grandmother said one word and the devil went straight to hell. I am Ayaka Yukimura, 20 years old. After graduating from high school, I graduated from a vocational school in Naruse and will be working as a pastry chef at a popular local restaurant from spring. In fact, this is an important restaurant full of memories for me. I used it for celebratory trips from a young age, such as birthdays, school entrances, and graduations. I especially have a lot of memories with my mother, and every time I pass by the store I remember my mother because she is no longer with us. My mother was diagnosed with an illness when I entered junior high school. My father divorced when I was young, and my mother had been raising me alone until then. However, perhaps because of all the strain she had been putting on me, I went to the hospital feeling unwell and it was already too late. After my mother passed away, it was my grandmother who raised me. My mother was not close to me when she was alive because she ran away and married my father, but it was only my grandmother who came to see me when she found out I was sick. Soon after that, my mother died and I was taken in by my grandmother. Your mother's room is still there as it was before, so you can use it as it is. My grandmother didn't say much, but she prepared meals every day with love. Sometimes she even made homemade pudding for me. It tasted the same as the one my mother used to make. I was a single mother, so we didn't have much money, and we only had Western sweets on special occasions. But when I wanted to eat something sweet or when I was feeling down, my mother made this pudding for me. When I remembered that, tears started flowing. What's wrong with you when you see me like that? Does it hurt somewhere? Yes. Because it tastes the same as your mother's. Well, it's the taste I taught you. Shall I teach you too? My grandmother said this with a smile. And so I began to learn how to make sweets from my grandmother. And before I knew it, my dream was to become a pastry chef, and after graduating from a pastry school, I was able to successfully get a job at a Western-style store full of memories. The Western-style store where I work has recently become a hot topic. The store's signature product, the angel roll cake, is a popular cake with a pure white cream like angel wings and a fluffy texture. Many people posted about it on social media and it became a hot topic. Thanks to this, the store often has a line of people waiting because of the turnover, and there has been an idea of moving to the countryside. I wonder if they have high expectations of me as a pastry chef because I was hired because of such popularity. Of course, at first I was allowed to do various preparations as an apprentice, and I thought that I would gradually gain experience and eventually be able to help make a living as a pastry chef. So on my first day at work, I was excited with anticipation, but there were 5 new employees, including me. Everyone was a pastry school graduate like me, and seemed to be passionate about making Western-style sweets. However, on my first day, the female president, wearing a flashy pink suit and heavy makeup, told me, "New employees, from now on, you will be making the dough and cream of our signature product every day." You understand, right? Right now, roll cakes are very popular and we are short on staff. This is what they mean when they say they need a helping hand. Well, even so, cats aren't actually that useful, so they hired graduates of a performance school like you. You're not amateurs, so you should become a fast-acting asset. With that order, the president left the store. Soon after, the senior staff member gave us a work explanation. According to the senior's explanation, in order to make it in time for the 10 o'clock rotation, we had to come to work at 5 o'clock and start making the articles while warming up the orbs. Furthermore, we had to prepare for the next day, so we were told to work until 10 o'clock even though the store was closed. What, you mean you have to stay at the store for 17 hours a day? When I asked him, that's what the senior would say. It's hard, but do your best. The president is especially strict with new employees. Some people quit because they can't stand it, but he told us not to quit because there are not enough people. It's true that the number of staff is small for a popular main store, with about 10 people in total, including sales staff and production staff. And we 5 new employees joined them. However, since they also make other baked goods and fresh confectionery, not everyone is avoiding making roll cakes. The seniors are making other sweets and finishing the roll cakes. The new recruits are just preparing the cream and dough. They started working under the guidance of the seniors, but the amount of work was quite a lot of manual labor. By the break time, all the new recruits were exhausted. Then the work started again in the afternoon. After a week of such work, the staff who joined the company at the same time quit one by one. Then the work suddenly fell on the remaining staff. The manual labor continued every day from early morning till late at night, and it was getting physically hard. I also fight muscle pain and sleepiness every day. The president came to the store when I was at the maximum of such fatigue. Ha! The new recruits this time are no good. They didn't last even a week. Are you guys taking your work lightly? To earn money, you have to work responsibly from morning to night. It's common sense for working people. You can't keep feeling like a student forever. Then he came right up to me and looked into my face and asked me, "I'm sure you're a new employee too." Yes. I was taken aback by his overbearing tone. His name is Yukimura. Yukimura-san. I've gotten to know your face well, so don't quit so soon. Even if you quit, you're probably going to work from a different perspective anyway. This world is surprisingly small. I'll let the new store know how you did. The same goes for the other staff. Our store is popular, so feel happy to be working there. Well, the president left while working hard for me in this store for a long time to come. No one can quit if they say something like this. It seems like I was a disappointment when I joined the company to become a pastry chef. The new staff, including me, were overworked and wore themselves out. For the first month since I started working, the only time I could take a proper break was on the store's regular holidays. Regular holidays are like heaven. I don't have to get up early in the morning, and it's a dream-like day where I can relax. I also met my grandmother for the first time in a week. I still live with my grandmother, but since I work, our schedules don't match and I can't see her that often. On one of those days off, when I went to the living room in the morning, my grandmother was watching TV while drinking tea. Good morning, Grandma. Oh, Ayaka. I see, today is your day off. How is it? Are you used to work? You've been early and late every day lately. I know you got a job at a popular store, but are you still busy? Aren't you working too much? My grandmother was worried and asked me. When I was a student, my grandmother used to listen to me talk about all sorts of things, but recently I haven't had the chance to talk to her at all. But I've finally gotten a job, so I don't want to worry my grandmother. So I smiled and tried not to show my tiredness. That's right. You see, there's that roll cake that everyone's talking about, right? It's really popular, and we have to make a lot of it. Especially for new employees, we have to learn how to make the dough and cream, so I said that my seniors teach me after work. Did she feel a little relieved when she heard that? I see. It's true that it's hard to learn new things. But don't push yourself too hard. Your mother also said that pushing yourself too hard was bad for your health. That's why she told me to do the work you like, but not to push yourself too hard. That's right. I was just barely keeping up with the work and was being careless, but I need to take care of my health. With that in mind, I brought my lunch the next day. Recently, I've only been drinking energy drinks and jelly drinks during my breaks and haven't been able to eat properly. The other staff are the same. So, although it's simple, I brought several types of rice balls and side dishes such as simmered dishes for the other staff as well. Then, everyone who had been toasting with fatigue ate them happily. Just as I was getting my energy back, thinking, okay, now we can do our best in the afternoon, the female president came into the break room and said, "Oh, did you bring a lunchbox? The inside is full of a homemade feel and is soggy. It really feels like a poor person's food. You don't have any sense of a pastry chef. Who brought this lunchbox that doesn't have a shred of sense?" The atmosphere in the room suddenly became tense at the overbearing question. Oh, I brought it. Everyone else was drinking jelly and drinking protein bars, so I thought I'd like to eat some rice balls for a change. When I said that, the president came towards me and said, "You must be Yukimura-san, right? From the inside, it's obvious that you're poor. But even so, if you have time to make something like this, you must still have a lot of money." Oh, then I think I'll leave other work to you. Actually, my acquaintance wants to eat roll cakes, so can you deliver them from Gogu? Well, here's the list. Ah, here I go. I took the list as instructed, but was surprised when I saw the contents. There were 10 of them. And it wasn't just roll cakes that were being delivered, there were also bouquets and message cards that had been written on them. Oh, I'm going to timidly ask the president, will these bouquets be ready when I go to the florist? The president was like a devil, and said, "No way. You're going to arrange it now. So, deliver them properly. If you don't deliver them properly, they'll find out. Don't try to lie to me." He left the break room with those words. Ha! I sighed involuntarily, but there was no time to waste. I quickly called the florist and arranged for them to prepare a bouquet. In the meantime, I wrapped up the roll cakes and baked goods to be delivered in boxes and hurriedly left the store. I went back and forth between the store and the delivery destination several times, and before I knew it, it was already 9 p.m. I returned to the store exhausted and the president was waiting for me. "Oh, Yukimura, you're late. I thought you had abandoned your work and run away. Well, you should continue preparing for tomorrow. With that, the president left earlier than anyone else. From now on, in addition to my regular work, I was asked to make deliveries to places that the president knew. It's been a few months since I started working. I didn't have a proper holiday except for the regular holidays, but I was going to get 2 days of paid leave starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is my grandmother's birthday. Until now, I was a student and couldn't celebrate anything big, but now I'm working and I got a bonus, so I thought I'd use it to celebrate my grandmother's birthday. My birthday present was a trip to Miyazaki because Miyazaki was where my grandmother was born, but she said she hadn't been there for a while. However, every once in a while, when she saw a feature on Miyazaki's Aoshima Island on TV, she would mutter, "It brings back memories." So I decided to give her a trip to Miyazaki. Miyazaki also has a hot spring inn where you can enjoy the skin-beautifying water. I thought it would be fun for 2 women to take a leisurely bath in a hot spring. The restaurant was still short-staffed, but my grandmother's birthday was on a weekday when it wasn't too busy, and we had just hired some mid-career employees. I thought it would be okay to use my paid leave, so I submitted my paid leave application in advance. However, the president didn't check it properly, and the day before, he came in front of me while I was working, waving his paid leave application and saying the following. "Yukimura-san, what is this? It's a paid leave application." He said, "You're a new employee, but you're being rude to submit something like this," and once again confronted me with a devilish double-minded attitude. Even the president submitted the application a month ago. Besides, I have an important matter to attend to tomorrow, so please let me have the day off tomorrow. Please. When I bowed my head, he said, "What important matter?" "I'm going to go on a trip with 2 days off," so I told him honestly. "It's my grandmother's birthday. She raised me like a parent, so I thought I'd at least give her a trip to say hello, and it's her birthday, and it's my grandmother's. I wonder if she'll still be happy when she gets older, even though she doesn't have much time left. But I'm just a single family, so I'll be patient." So I bowed my head and said, "Please." Then the president smirked as if he had thought of something, and said, "Well, this is the usual list. If you can complete all of this, you can take a day off," and handed me the delivery list. When I checked, there were 30 delivery destinations written on it. It was much more than usual. We don't have a delivery truck, so I have to go back and forth between the store and the delivery destinations many times with my holly bag. Anyway, I had to get something done, so I hurried off to deliver. When I returned to the store after the last delivery, it was almost time for the date to change. I rubbed my swollen ribs in the already deserted workshop. Finally, I can go home. Just as I was thinking that, the phone rang. It's the president. "Oh, Yukimura-san, of course all the deliveries are done, right?" "Ah, yes. I've just finished and returned. Finally, there's a roll cake and a chocolate-decorated cake in the fridge, so bring them to the place I'm going to tell you about, and of course, come as fast as you can. Oh, and bring a huge bouquet of flowers with it. Got it? These are the conditions of the request. I'm already exhausted, but if you say so, I have no choice." I headed to the place I was told to, carrying the cake and bouquet. When I arrived at the address the president told me to, it was a host club. I contacted the president and he told me to come in, so when I went there, I found the president surrounded by hosts and 50,000 yen. He took the cake and bouquet from me as if he was snatching them. "Yes, Masatoku, happy birthday. This is a congratulatory gift from me. The president handed it to the host in front of me, saying that he should accept it with my love. What? I ran down the night road for this. While I was feeling overwhelmed, the president looked at me. Oh, you're still there? He gestured with his hand to shoo me away, saying that he was done and that I should go home. Well, at least now I can celebrate my grandmother properly tomorrow. Okay, let's change my mood. The next day, I left for a trip with my grandmother in a bright mood. My body was exhausted, but I had completed all my missions and was happy to be able to go on a trip without any worries. It's been a while since my grandmother's been here, but it's my first time going to Miyazaki. It's my first time in a new place and trying local delicacies. My first trip after getting a job was more fun than I expected. Grandma, you're tired, aren't you? Let's go to the inn. So we headed to a fine inn with a beautiful Japanese house and a well-maintained garden. Is this the Ayaka Inn? It looks like a very high-class inn. Are you okay? My grandmother asked me worriedly as soon as she entered the inn's entrance. Because I said that I would make the arrangements and payments for this trip. Of course. Because I got my bonus, so leave it to me. This is a gift to my grandmother who raised me, so I'll splurge on it today. So I hope you enjoy it to the fullest. When I said that, my grandmother smiled and understood. Then this time I'll take you up on your offer and enjoy it. Then the two of us put our luggage in the room and slowly enjoyed the hot springs that the inn boasts. Ah, the fatigue of recent days is healed. Next, a luxurious dinner awaits us. Okay, it's been a long time since I've been on a trip, so I'll eat to my heart's content. As I was heading to the inn's dining area with my luggage, I was called by Yukimura-san. What's this voice? I turned around timidly and there was a female president in a yukata. She opened her chest widely, and next to her was the host who had me deliver the cake yesterday. President, why did you say you were going on a hot spring trip here? So, since it's your birthday, Masato and you, I decided to give you a hot spring trip as a gift. But I'm worried about where to go. I asked my staff on a whim and they said that Mura-san said she was going here. I wondered what kind of place a newbie would take a barber who has no time to run, but it turned out to be a high-class hot spring. She's so cheeky for a rookie. She only has the ability to deliver. My grandmother, who was right next to me, looked puzzled when she heard that. Quote, "Oh, you mean deliveries?" The president said, grinning and saying, "You're the grandmother. Your grandson is very helpful. As a delivery person. What kind of delusion do you have to come to such a high-class inn just as a delivery person? This is an inn for people of a higher class. Yes, a president like me. This is not a place for poor people and barbers." I asked Yukimura if I could cut his salary next month because he seems ignorant of his own status. I'm not a poor person who doesn't know his own status, so why should the president tell me all about my private life? Besides, I'm a pastry chef, even if I'm just an apprentice. I don't remember being a delivery person. Today is my grandmother's birthday, and I can't forgive him for insulting not only me but also my grandmother. I'll make him understand how unreasonable I am. I smiled and asked, "President, who is here at this high-class travel agency today?" "You're with a very handsome person. Is it your son?" Quote. I asked purposely. The president and the host looked to be about the same age as me. The president is in his late 40s, but the host is probably in his 20s, so he's not much older than me. The president blushed as if he was inferior and said, "What stupid thing are you talking about? I'm a bachelor in the flower world. This is Masato, the number one at the host club I go to every night. Yukimura-san is really a useless fool. Yesterday, I had you deliver a cake and a bouquet to the host club. Have you forgotten already? Oh, that's right. I'm sure I was ordered by the president to deliver it when the date was about to change. When I answered, the president seemed to smile. Unlike you, a cover girl, if you become a CEO like me, you can spend every day with such a cool host. You're jealous, aren't you? Hey, Masato, I'm the only customer who brings you to such a high-class inn. I'm hanging out my mouth while wrapping my arm around the hosts. Ah. But the host doesn't just shake my hand, he clasps it tightly and says that Seiko is really the best queen to me. I'm glad that you spend millions on me every month. You booked this inn at short notice because it's your birthday today. So I'll serve you properly later. I'm so happy. I'm making my employees make plenty of those cakes from morning to night to look after Masato. I'll earn more and more and give you more. Ah, that's disgusting. But the host got the testimony he expected. The CEO himself said that he was making his employees work to look after him. This is sure to be a big deal. As I was thinking that, my grandmother probably thought that this was a good match. She muttered. By the way, are you still streaming online? Online streaming? Hearing that, the president turned his face from the host to me. Yukimura-san, are you streaming something now? The president, wearing bright red lipstick, asked me with a surprised look on his face. Yes. Since I came to a high-class inn, I'm turning the camera so that it will be a memory. Ah, I'm currently streaming live with this small camera I'm wearing around my neck. Of course, I got permission from the inn, so I was careful not to show anyone else, but I was so surprised that the president came in front of me that I forgot. What, you're already streaming? Yes, that's what I'm saying. So the fact that the president has his employees make cakes from morning to night, and that he has one employee deliver them to the host club where he is married, all of this became clear to the viewers. Oh, right. Actually, I'm running a YouTube channel with my grandmother, and we're streaming recipes for everyday sweets that can be made quickly with things you have at home. Recently, I leave it all up to my grandmother, but it's been quite well received. I'm happy to say that the number of channel subscribers is about to reach 10,000. I had announced that today's broadcast would be from a hot spring in Miyazaki, my grandmother's hometown, so I think quite a few people are watching. I had the camera rolling from the moment I left the room. Of course, my grandmother knows that. That's why she didn't say anything. The president started to get angry, his face straight. Hey, stop the camera. What are you going to do? This will ruin our reputation. You're fired. You're fired. I hired you with all my heart. I don't know this sound. I don't know this sound. And I've never felt any gratitude towards the president. And you're fired, you idiot. I didn't want to quit because I was able to work at a store full of memories, but if I can't do the work I love properly, there's no way. That's when I thought about it. Then I wonder if I should pretend that I didn't have a contract with my grandfather. That's what my grandmother said. My grandmother stood before the president with a stunned attitude and declared, but the president didn't seem to understand what was going on, so he said, "Are you signing a contract? What stupid things are you saying? Is this old lady losing her mind?" Hearing this, my grandmother said, "Aren't you the one who's melting? Oh, you still don't know who I am. After we signed a contract with Ansha last month about the collaboration product, I said hello at the party, didn't you? You were the one who said hello to me then, but you're the one who's forgotten, right? Huh, last month's party. I'm sure it was last month that the contract with Yukimura was finally decided. Yukimura? What? The president's face was like a double face, and this time he opened his eyes wide and looked surprised. Then he asked my grandmother timidly. Are you by any chance Chairman Yukimura? Yes, my grandmother is the chairman of Yukimura, a major saishida manufacturer. My uncle, my mother's younger brother, is the president now, but even now, as chairman, he sometimes has a say in new product development. And last month, the Western movie perspective where I work is quite a hot topic on SNS, so we were planning to develop a collaboration product and sell it nationwide. That's right. My grandson has always loved that Western sweets perspective, and he said he really wanted to join the company, so I let him do what he wanted, but he made him work too hard and even used the president's private life. And now he's a non-intervention school. I can't sign a contract with such a company. My grandmother, who is usually gentle, said to the president with a shocked attitude. I thought that if this project was successful, we would become more famous and eventually expand nationwide and make more money. The president collapsed to his knees in despair. Then the host who was nearby spoke to the president with a worried look on his face. Are you okay, Sasan? Thank you, Masato, for worrying about me. The president looked up at the host with a confused look on his face. Are you okay? Money, maybe Sasan is in a bad situation? So you can't come to our store and spend a lot of money anymore? Oh, Masato, I want to go. I want to find you plenty for you. But if the reputation of the shop falls, the current sales will also fall. If that happens, it will be impossible to continue looking after her like before. But don't worry. I'll do my best to go and see her. Ha! The president seems to have been completely drained by this host. Even though the shop may be in danger, he still says he's going. But when the host heard that, his worried expression turned to a blank stare and he said, What? If you're not going to continue looking after me like before, you don't have to come. There are plenty of other queens who will give me tributes. I won't be bothered if one Sasako is gone. See you later, quote. With that, he shook off the president's hand and walked away. Hey, Masato, are you abandoning me here? I went to the trouble of flying to bring you to a high-class inn. What are you going to do about the servant you mentioned earlier? No manpower. Give me back all the travel expenses and the money you found. To think that even the host has abandoned you. But even so, how greedy are you to be concerned about money even at a time like this? As the president was shouting while handing out the noodles, the staff rushed over, unable to bear the sight. Are you okay, customer? Please calm down as you are bothering other customers. Could you please come over here? What? I'm a customer too. What is that attitude towards a customer? He then started to get angry at the inn staff. The customer is God, right? He is saying that other customers are being bothered to that God. You don't understand the basics of customer service, do you? Who are you bothering? Tell me. Do you think it's okay to say something like that? You should take responsibility and apologize to me on the ground. Bo. The president seems to have already forgotten that his grandmother, who is the chairman, is there, and he has become quite heated up. He yelled so much that other customers stopped around to see what was going on. Some even held up their smartphones to take videos. Then a person who seemed to be the manager of the inn came over. Please calm down, customer. He said, calm down. It's your fault for saying such inconsistent things to me. You're an I-class employee, so you should be more responsible. The customer is God. In other words, I am a god to you guys. If you defy me like that, you should apologize by kneeling down. The enraged president spoke to the manager in a strong manner, but the manager said without a trace of emotion. Customer, if the verbal abuse is too severe, Toho can refuse to let you stay at the hotel. By the way, your companion has already checked out. You are the only one left. What will you do? Hearing this, the president's anger suddenly turned to sadness. I was the only one in the room I had booked with Tadashi and I was abandoned, and now I began to cry and scream. The ups and downs of emotions were just like a roller coaster. Seeing this, the manager said, "Let's calm down over there for a while," and took the president away. Ah, what a troublesome president. After seeing her off, we headed to dinner to enjoy a luxurious meal. I'm on paid leave now. I'll think about work when I get back from my trip. A few days after returning from my trip, I thought I would be fired, but I was wrong. The reason is that the president's arrogant attitude towards employees was revealed on social media, and many critical voices were sent to the president. As a result, complaints against the president grew even in the car, and they reached the president in Sendai. In fact, the Western movie store where I work was a store that President Sendai had discovered, and Sendai is now the owner after learning about the position of president. President Seiko, who was a pastry chef as a hired president, reigned as a queen, but that reign is over now. In response to this turmoil, the owner will return as president. So what happened to President Seiko? She was to return to being a pastry chef to understand the position of the employees, but President Saigo refused and quit the company. Perhaps she couldn't bear to be in the same position as the employees she had used for a long time. And because she had experience as a president, she seemed to think that she could work in a different position right away. However, the public's eyes were harsh. Not only her attitude towards employees, but also her attitude towards the staff, which was photographed by guests staying at the inn, was spread on social media. As a result, President Saigoko became famous as a nuisance customer at a high-class inn. Even so, it seems that President Kozen's job change is not going as well as expected. I am finally able to work properly as a pastry chef. Of course, I am still an apprentice, but I no longer work late into the night like before, and I am of course able to leave work on time instead of running around making deliveries. Previously, I was only allowed to make roll cakes, but now I am allowed to prepare various cakes, and every day is full of learning and fun. At one point, sales dropped significantly due to President Kozen's first appearance, but when the news reported the president's incompetence, the staff continued to make cakes anxiously, trying to regain trust, and the voices of the town saying that the cakes were really delicious and the staff were always kind, regardless of the president, were introduced, and on the contrary, more people started supporting us. And because the president changed, the collaboration contract with my grandmother's company was allowed to continue as it was. Thanks to this, the taste of the Yogadin became known throughout the country. The store regained its popularity, and to celebrate it, all the employees went out for a drink, but on the way back, I saw an unexpected person. It was already late after drinking, so I was thinking of catching a taxi. You. Oh, this is a familiar voice and name. I looked down from the voice and saw a woman being turned away by the host in front of the host club where I had delivered a roll cake before. Customers without money, please go away. Give me some masa. That girl has been looking at me so much. I need you to pay her back, Ma and Masato-kun, come out. That is President Saigo Kozen. It seems he is still attached to that host. The president of Saigo Kozen is now wearing plain clothes, a stark change from his flashy brand of clothes before, and is shabby. After shouting a few times, it seems that Masa came out of the store. Ah, he's finally here. I gave Masa quite a bit of money, so give it back a little. I heard Masa say something like that. But I heard he was scolding me and said this to me. I heard you're working as a cleaner at the Love Hotel behind the store right now. You used to invite me there so many times, but now you're going in there alone. I'm so proud of you. If you're upset, earn some money and come here again. I'll give you a free gift for what you paid. Well, you probably can't pay it anyway, he said, laughing as he walked around. Hearing this, President Sasako-zin said, "Ugh. I used to look after you so much. It's terrible to get revenge on you. How much do you think you've been looking after me?" She cried and yelled. But Tadashi said nonchalantly, "That's your job, so if you don't have money, just get lost." With that, President Sasako-zin left somewhere. Who would have thought that the president had become a cleaner at a love hotel? Her life started to turn around at a stretch, and it seemed to have fallen to the bottom. A few years have passed since then. As a pastry chef, I am now in charge of making various cakes at the shop. And soon, a competition will be held to release a new product. The product I will enter in the competition is a pudding a la mode, made with pudding that reminds me of my mother and grandmother. I'm thinking of competing with a taste that both children and adults love. Whatever the outcome, I'm extremely happy to be able to work as a sweets baker, which I love.